protection order on it can never be knocked down now. The building. That's what I'm thinking.
Once rendering though, once cement rendering that gable end, if you paint that with that doorway, it's going to look a pig with all the brickwork showing through. Or at the very least, get some 84 boards and screw into the wall some exterior grade. We're going over, here we go, 5, 4, 3. I told him, Fred.
You're wrong.
I said he's drunk.
I'm working.
Oh, there. The last we're here on the show.
Yeah.
Sorry about the delay, but Carl was drunk on it. No other way of saying it. He was drunk.
Well, we were in the Bull yesterday and we had a few, didn't we?
No, you were. So anyway, the bottom line is we're on. Eventually, we're here. We'll talk about many things. Got guests on today. We've got the wonderful Winder brothers from Salford, Carpet Kings of Salford, Lino Layers, any other outlets. And we've got a special guest in the corner who's hiding, Alan Henry Whitehead.
Send him down.
Fair enough. But first, I'd just like to say a big thank you to a chap called John Houlihan, who's in Baltimore, America, who contacted me and said for some strange reason he liked this show.
Hi John, the hell you did, boy.
Raymond Cobbledick, who was arranging for us to have a free meal at the Bengal Balti.
Chicken on the bone.
Hussein, if you're listening, we'll be there Monday 5:30.
Hussein, assalamu alaikum. Aapka sahi tikka bahut acha.
Exactly. And Mike Duff and Marie, who just had his gutters fixed. He wanted me to mention that. But the Winder brothers first. You may remember them from, but you tell us. Right. Salford, the Carpet.
Salford. Right. You want me to?
Yeah, you
start it. Right. Well,
this is Pete, by the way. Peter.
I'm
John.
Peter Winder.
John.
Pete Winder, as I'm commonly known. As most of the older end of Salfordians will know, Winders, we used to get the name Winders, Winders. We first started trading in Salford over 250 years ago. Certainly in the 1850s on the Flatiron Market.
How old are these two?
I didn't have a beard then. So that was our great grandfather, and his name was Edward Winder, and his son followed on after him, and they came out to Greengate. They lived in Greengate for a while, and John Henry Winder opened a shop at 43 Blackfriars Road, which was on the corner of Garden Lane, opposite the Three Crowns pub, as was later known as Buskers.
That's right. Harold Henny had it, the Salford rugby player.
That's correct.
Harold Henny,
That's
yeah.
correct.
Cheers, Harold, if you're watching.
And we was a big family, and they all worked for the old man, John Henry Winder. My grandfather, Jack Winder, who a lot of the older people will know, he's been dead many years now, 30 odd years. He was born in that shop in 1905. They all traded on the Flatiron Market, and they also traded in the cattle pens on Cross Lane.
Yeah.
On the old market before the new market was built on Cross
With the
Lane.
old clock.
Right. That was the new market. That was opened in 1939.
20s it was.
Right. But the cattle market was the 1920s. Then we also travelled out to different markets. We didn't just do Salford markets, we did the Manchester markets, and we also did the pot fairs, travelled far afield. But as I say,
when you say a pot fair, Pete, what actually was that? Just selling, not you obviously we were underlaid, carpenters, was that selling crockery and pots?
Well, it was called pot fairs because there was a big accumulation of pot stalls, but it was miscellaneous. They sold all sorts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Blanket name for it.
It was on the side, wasn't it? It's like the Sidewinders.
That's right. Well,
Why you don't good Sidewinders, saddle round, I'll shoot you before you guns can clear! Sorry, Pete, carry on.
You know, honestly, God.
Hey, listen, this lot don't know the fun we've had before we went on it.
If we move up,
Yeah.
you know, a couple of
Yeah.
generations,
Yeah.
to the old cattle market where they stood in the pens, my grandfather, they travelled with pony and cart to there, and they used to stable up in West High Street.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The reason is I know all this information is my grandfather used to tell me everything,
And you remembered it.
and I remembered it because I was interested. I'm
Good lad.
very, very interested in my local history
And social history.
and social. I'm very, very much so.
He's a man, Flynny.
So he used to tell us the tales, like what used to go on. Then the Flatiron Market closed. It still carried on for many years after it was officially supposed to be closed.
Yeah.
But it carried on until the official opening of Crossway
Right.
Market,
What year was that? Do you remember? that?
38.
1939.
Oh, just before the war broke out.
Well, they was building it during the war, but it got held back because of materials,
Sure.
you know. So that's when my father came along, who was Jack Winder, who was known as Young Jack, right? So he stood that market with his father, Jack Winder Senior, who there's a road on Frederick Road named after him.
That's right.
The Salford Council.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where Warden Goldstone.
What an accolade, eh?
Winder's Way.
Brilliant.
That we come to, obviously. I'll tell you how it came, you know, but because it was.
I've got one in Clifton called Fielder's Way, you know.
You've got down Fiddler's Lane, haven't you?
Fielder's Way.
Oh, sorry, Fielder. I thought it was named after you, Fiddler's Lane.
Don't mention the divinity. Don't mention the divinity. It's your brother, John. I've not seen John, I tell you, for 57 years. We were at school together at St Andrews. And he only just remembers me.
I've got news for you. He doesn't remember me.
Tell us about the pigeons.
Right. Now, our John has been a pigeon fancier for well over 60 years. Well over 60 years. And he got married late on in life, and he asked me to be his best man.
He's looking for the right bird.
Right, good. This is true, this is true. I'm not telling a lie, what I'm telling you. He said, Peter, will you be my best man? I said, well, John, you've been mine 3 times. He was a fucking jig.
He meant flipping.
A jinx to me. So anyway, I said, I'll return the compliment.
Yeah.
So I said, but he has a good friend called Alan Morris. They've been friends since they were like 6 years of age. I said, look, if you want your mate, John, I want your friend. So he says, no, I want you and Alan. So he was getting married at St John's Cathedral.
Oh, but yeah,
Right,
Chapel Street.
So he phoned me up a week before the wedding, and he says, can you come down, we've got to go to the cathedral for a practice run. So I said, right, where do you want me to meet you? Meet me in the Curzon Club. Well, that was our John's. John was the president of the Curzon Club for years when,
Do you have to say more?
when it was a social club. So I goes in, and all lads are sat on the table, like we are now, and I looked at his face, down there. So I said to Alan, I said, what's the good with his face? Oh. He said, he's just lost 2 of his best birds, 2 young ones. Right, am I right? So I said, well, that's bad. I said, where'd they gone to France, like to Nantes, because that's where they used to send them, to Nantes. He said, no, well, where'd they gone? Salford Quays. I said, they could have believed he walked back from there. So, it's not funny, they're 2 of my best birds. I said, alright John, sorry, right, okay. So we let it go. So, we go to church, we do a bit of a,
Rehearsal, yeah.
We've got a week up to his wedding.
What year is this?
2005.
6 maybe.
No.
If the wife's watching this, she'll go mad because I always forget.
Oh, this will be Canon Tony McBride that was at the cathedral then, 2006.
Tony.
Tony
Yeah,
McBride.
Tony married him.
Father Tony Mann.
Did he? I thought it was a woman.
I think he's at the head office now in Rome.
Nearer to God than I.
Yeah.
Anyway, weeks going on, one of the lads what comes to the farm, does a bit of shooting, woodies. So I said, have you got any decoys? And he says, yeah. So I told him the tale. I said, my brother's lost 2 birds. I said, I'm his best man, I want to play this summer up here.
I can see what's coming here.
So
Go on.
I gets the 2 decoys, right? And I says to Alan Morris, who's the other best man, bang these under the table, right? And we're on the top table in the Kersal Club. You're not on the stage,
Yeah.
big room, on the stage there.
Tony Beardsall.
Right.
That's him.
And I said, right, Alan, just bang them under the table. I said, I'm going to give the first speech. He said, oh, I'm no good at that. I said, don't worry about it. I'll do the speech and I'll lead you into it.
Yeah.
Right? So I gets up, giving the speech, and I said, as you all know, ladies and gentlemen, I said, Johnny's a big pigeon fancier. You know, I said, you know, he's been on the allotments there for 60 odd years. I said, but he had a bit of bad news last week, and I was a bit upset for him. I said, he lost 2 of his best pigeons, 2 young ones. And I said to the lads, where have they flown from? France? And they said, no, Salford Keys. I said, so, I was sorry about that, John, that you lost the birds. And he's like, yeah, yeah. I said, but anyway, I'm going to hand over to Alan now. So, everything's okay. So, Alan gets up, he says, John, we've had a bit of good news. You know those 2 birds you lost? And he looks at you. He says, well, we've seen them walking down Trafford Road, so there they are. And he's still got them in his mantelpiece to this day.
So he took it in good part.
Oh, yeah.
Wardrobe, yeah.
It lifted the roof off.
Sure. It's what it
lifted-
needs sometimes.
Yeah.
John, did you go into the family business then, or did you just was?
When I left school,
This
went,
same with this lad.
yeah,
64.
64. I went working at a clothing company in Bedford Street. I think it was £4.7 and a ton.
What was the company called?
I think it's called Davis Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Name
My
and
my
shame.
cousin lived in
Name
Bedford
and shame.
Street. Yeah.
And I worked there for a few years, and then I left there, and then I got a job at an engineering place called John Shaw's. But when we went in, that was on St Stephen Street, a bit further up, and obviously it was better money, and they wanted to start me there as an apprentice. But unfortunately, and I don't mind saying it, my family was on bad times at the times, and they couldn't get the overalls and everything we needed to start.
They
It
weren't
was
on their own in those
compulsory,
days.
and
Sure.
obviously I couldn't start there.
Sure.
So, whatever. Anyway, moved on in life, and then I went working for my father on the market, on Crossley Market, and in them days, my father and grandfather was in opposition against one another.
All right.
When we was, where Peter and myself was born on King Street off Blackfriars Road, my grandfather had a shop on 92 King Street next to the cobblers, facing Cecil Souter's shop, right? And
Billy Souter's dad.
Billy the Barber.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he was a
And
laughing.
we was further
Up in
down.
our street.
We was down at 23 King Street, further down next to the chip shop. I forget what that was
And
called.
Booker's Butchers.
Butchers, yeah.
Which
was
on
on the
Blackfriars was 25 yards further on than us, the pub.
Right.
Anyway, so we worked there, and then I went working with my dad on the market. 10 bob a day, that's what I got then.
Spoiled. Sheer luxury.
And I also
Yeah.
used to help my granddad, but our Peter went working with my grandfather more than what I did, because as time went on, Peter went to live with his grandparents, and I moved and started looking at other type of birds at that time, as you do, 17, 18, 19, and then I actually got a job working in the 70s, working at Warden Goldstones, where I became involved with the union. I wasn't politically minded or anything like that.
Rolex.
We went down.
Rolex,
we went
yeah.
down to London on all these protests against Maggie Thatcher. And
Didn't do any good.
We didn't even see the
I know.
protests. You know, we was down Soho or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
But there was good times and there was bad times, and I had a lot of good friends who worked at Warden Goldstones, because in them days all the family worked there. Everyone in Salford, over 2,000 people, when I was involved with the unions and that lot, we had over 2,000 members in it at the time, Transport and General Workers Union, not talking, not to say about what the AAU, they had a separate union for the engineers who worked there. And it was a very big place in Salford, and they had places in other areas and all, down in Monton there,
Monton,
also
Eccles,
in the
yeah.
Green, and Arnis places, other places also in Yorkshire, and they also built one in Skelmersdale, I think it was. And anyway, after that, I worked there for a time, and when I left Ward with Allstones, I was sacked, by the way, because they said it was on the papers. It was in the papers that 2 union fellas and personnel manager was sacked for fiddling. Anyway, we took them to a tribunal. We went to the tribunal, and it was in all the papers, all the press was there and everything, in Manchester Evening News. And the day before the judgment came out, it was in the Evening News that we'd lost our case. So the prefect who was actually representing us turned around and said, well, how's it that's come out? And the judge turned around and says, the main judge said, well, I don't know who's put it in the papers, certainly we haven't. Anyway, the case was that we was fiddling. When we was going down to Transport House, we took our time. They seen us in the bookies, they seen us in the pubs, and we give our answers through being in the bookies and being in the pubs and going down to Transport House, because he had a security bloke following us, which was true. Anyway, so the security guy came up and he gave his statement. I went and followed him down to Transport House, and on the way back they went in the Railway Hotel, which was on Ford Lane, and that's where we used to meet the people who was on shifts.
Still there, but it's dilapidated,
yeah. And then we went into the bookies, which in them days was called Albert Finney's. And we went into the bookies, and Tommy, he was the actual convener at that time, went to the toilet, and the security guard went and looked at the board as though he was doing something, just putting a bet on. Anyway, it came out. So anyway, on the day of the judgment, the judge turned on and says, we find in favour, unanimously, in favour of the respondents. Well, who's the respondents? So he says, it's us, and everyone started cheering. And he said, I'm going to give me readings for this. He says, we see no grounds where that Mr. Rowlands and his assistant, Mr. Winder, was found to be gambling or drinking. Right? The only person we can substantiate that was drinking and gambling was the security bloke that was following you, because he admitted it. Anyway, so they didn't start us back, but they had to compensate us. They give us a good, in them days, a good compensation.
How much?
Between the three of us, we got 26 grand, and I got the least, right?
He would say that, wouldn't he?
You'd have got 8 grand then.
No, I got 6 grand.
All right.
Why did you make me say that?
I'm not trying to wheedle it out of you, it's just your round.
Anyway, as it happens, it didn't last long. Anyway, and then I think it was, I separated from me first relationship I had with the girl I was with at the time, and I went to live in a flat. And I'm not sure whether it was you, Peter, that come down and said my dad's had a stroke.
Yeah, he
said my dad's had a
because my dad was on the market.
He was on the market.
Bad news at any time, that, isn't it?
Anyway, so we decided, myself, my brother and my sister, to try and carry the job on. But unfortunately with my dad, with his illness, he had a lot of arrears. And the superintendent of the market, I'm talking about the market now, that's down on that was on Salford precinct, not the old Cross Lane market where I started off working. And what he turned around and said was that I forgot what I was talking about now.
Yeah.
This is what
We are.
This is what you get when you sat with these
So that's when you took over the business. wasn't it?
That's when we took
Yeah.
over the business.
You took over
And within
the business,
a couple of years,
And you opened the shop.
in a few years, and then it went on, and the market got a bad name through the flea market and things like that, but it was very popular, and I became the market representative who took over from a lad that left, and I've been doing that ever since. But there's no market except an indoor market now actually inside Salford precinct. But I remember one of the two people that Peter will tell you about in a bit, when you get talking about Barmy Mick and who people can
Tell us about Barmy
Come
Mick,
on,
Nigel
Barmy Mick.
Jackson, come on.
We're going back now to Cross Lane Market.
Right.
Good.
Right.
Lovely place.
And I've read your book, Tony, and you're 99.9%
Wrong.
spot on.
Oh.
Tell us about the 0.1% where he missed out.
The price.
Well, he mentioned a woman, and a lot of people did call it Mad Mary.
Yeah.
That was Mary Sidebottom. She was on the stall next to us.
Cindy Patton.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you ever go on YouTube and watch the film by Sheila Delaney,
Yeah.
Taste of Honey.
no,
No, it's a
Where
documentary
she-
about
documentary.
yeah, Salford, isn't it?
you'll see, now there was two Marys on Cross Lane Market. One was Mary Sidebottom, who sold the second-hand
Clothing.
clothes, and
Mhm.
she was the stall adjoining us. Right?
Right.
The other lady was Mary Kirkham, and she was on the other side of the market, which sold, it was like better quality catalogue stuff and stuff like that.
Posh.
Right. Now, as you're coming through the market, you come past the clock, you come past the tobacconist and the corner,
Yeah,
what used to be
yeah.
on the veranda.
Superintendent's office, wasn't it?
Superintendent's office, that's right. You came in the little gate, the first gate.
I remember, yeah, I remember that.
The first gate.
Yeah.
And the first gate, if you look to your immediate right in the corner, was our stall.
Right.
We used to have all the oilcloths stood up against the wall and built up on the stall. That back wall then, all them stalls, and you'll know this, Tony, backed onto Unwin Street.
Yeah.
Right? And they was all known as pitching stalls. Right? Where people
Yeah,
would
yeah.
auctioneer the stuff.
Yeah.
And there was all pitchers, because my grandfather was a pitcher, he used to pitch it. I'd been in crowds, I was a floor worker, I've been on the stall, I've shown you photographs.
Sure,
Yeah.
you were the feed man
Right.
to the floor of the guy.
Correct.
Right, with
And
it.
that was all, you know, you had to have a good floor worker. But
Sure.
But it could be as many as 4 of us working, especially with oilcloth, because you're rolling it up, you know what I mean? All sorts of stuff. You would have people, you'd be talking to people, what was it you was after, like, you know, and they said, well, I'm looking for something for the kitchen. In the meantime, the auctioneer, which would be my grandfather, would be on the stall, and as you're rolling up, you said, get us a stretch out for the kitchen. You know, you with me, right? And it was all, that's how it was all done, and it was all done by backchack and slang. Backchack
Yes.
and slang.
Yeah.
Right? Right. I'll just go off that for a little minute, what I mean by backchack and chat and slang.
Eat a pay, underway.
When you went on the markets, you certainly wouldn't. The markets are nothing like. As I say, I travel all the markets, obviously, more than John, because as I say, I work with my grandparents.
Sure.
Right? There was, everything was more or less auctioneered, but you had private stalls, like people what just stand there with, you know, what didn't auctioneer. On Cross Lane Market, they used to get Dr. Energy tablets and stuff like that. Right. I was on the market one day, and they always had a floor worker because you had to have somebody collecting the money.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this lad, this guy, is like, ladies and gentlemen, these are the best tablets in the world. Energy, you'll be able to jump over the moon when you've had one of these, and you always got one in a crowd. And I was there, I seen it happen. Right?
Go on.
There's a bloke stood at the front with his mouth wide open. And it's like that. A lot of people just stood in the crowd to be entertained, not to buy anything, to be entertained. Right? And the floor worker, I'd have to stand up, he's working about, walking in front of him, he's picking money up, right? And the next thing he goes, the guy who's doing the auctioneer sees this man, right, you've got your mouth open now,
Yeah.
sticks a pill in his mouth. There, take one of them, sir. He puts it, and he starts chewing it, right? The floor worker knows what's going to happen. He's walking about, he walks up and down. Within 5 minutes, he's walking past this man, what he should have. He turns down and he squeezes his balls. And the bloke goes, "Oh!" And he says, "Yeah, I'm working already."
What were they called? Dr. what? Dr. Barry.
Doctor's energy pills. But I've even, yeah, that's true.
It tickled me when you spoke about that woman that sold the catalogue stuff, because when I was a young boy of 11 years of age, I mean, I sometimes used to wear glasses, but I wouldn't have had to wear them if I'd have listened to my Scoutmaster when I was 10-year-old. But I used to get the John Myers catalogue, and on page 182, I can see it now, it was women's underwear, corsets and bras. And I cut the page out and I took it upstairs into my private bedroom. And I was, yes, and I was admiring these articles of ladies' underwear, and at the same time I was relieving myself of whatever you want to call it. And my mum come in, she said, "What the hell do you think you're playing at?" I said, "Nothing, mum, nothing." She said, "Wait while your dad gets home." So I thought, oh no. So my dad come home from the docks. She said, "You better go and see." I was always that son of his when I was in trouble. "Go and see that son of yours." And my dad come up the stairs like that, bump, 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 bump. And he says to me, "Your mother's told me what you've been doing, looking at those women's underwear thing and playing with yourself. Do you not know it can make you blind?" I said, "Dad, I'm over here." Happy days, though.
Right.
Peter, the mystery of
Barmy Mick.
Barmy Mick. All will be explained.
Right, now, I've explained where our store was. It was the first store on the right hand corner, next to the storeroom where Joe Oakley, one-legged porter at the time.
Well, you can't hold it against a one-legged porter.
No, I tell you what, there was only him and one other man used to get all the skips in.
Up along Cassidy.
Yeah, he worked hard, but he finished up deputy superintendent.
Didn't do bad for himself then.
Yeah, he didn't do bad.
Yeah.
So that's where the storeroom was. Going to the left, as if you're going to go up on...
I'm with you. I'm on this magical mysteries. I'm with you.
6 stores up was Barmy Mick.
He was.
Barmy Mick sold everything, including the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
As they used to call them, on the gaffs, because big market traders was known as gaffs.
That's right, the gaff.
The gaffs, you work in the gaffs and the grafters, right?
Yeah.
Barmy Mick was known as swag. Right? He sold his swag, he sold everything. Right. The mystery is, a lot of people, and I've seen it hundreds of times, they go on the different sites, Facebook, and they say, "I remember Cross Lane Market, and I remember Barmy Mick with the earrings, juggling his pots."
Barmy Mick never had earrings.
Barmy Mick never sold pots either.
That's right.
Right?
You're right.
Right. Barmy Mick, the man with the earrings was Harry Dawson.
Oh, I never knew his name, but I know.
And he sold pots.
Put a bit of lipo on as well, didn't he?
On the other side, that was his trademark, and I'll tell you why it was his trademark as well.
Go on.
Right? He stood on the other side of the market, fantastic picture, you know what I mean? And his son, Chris, because his son took over after
He did, he had a lot with him, didn't he?
But Harry, the reason is, he used to sell, before the pots, costume jewellery.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it was all fancy jewellery. And I can remember as a kid being stood in his crowd when he sold the jewellery.
Yeah.
Pardon me, sold the jewellery, right?
Yeah.
Then he went on to the pots, and he sold pots on Cross Lane Market. That man is Harry Dawson. He's not Barmy Mick.
That's right, he used to get like about a dozen plates on it,
Right.
throw 'em, and they never broke.
Never broke.
He'd throw them up and all, "Who wants to buy these?" And
But that was coming back to what the question Tony asked me before about pot fairs. You hadn't seen anything unless you'd seen a dozen pot stalls all competing against each other, throwing the pots up in the baskets, and they'd all come down. I was fortunate I experienced that. Wigan Pot Fair was a big pot fair, right? That's in the old city centre of Wigan, which has long since gone.
Walgate.
Yeah, all gone. And the old Victorian indoor market, that's all gone. And I tell you, it was an atmosphere, you know, and you'd be working from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night.
Right.
That's how the pot fairs, you work right through,
Sure.
under you know, lamps, you know what I mean?
The lamps, yeah.
But that was the difference between the markets. Now, Cross Lane Market was, in my opinion, the best market in the north of England, right? There's only one now. I mean, they pulled it down. It was beyond its time for its design, right? They built Salford Market, and that was just a bedstead market.
I know.
The atmosphere wasn't there.
Go on.
The characters wasn't there.
You're right.
Barney Mick didn't go on Salford Market, right?
He was on the old Cross Lane.
He was on Cross Lane for many, many years and very famous, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, brilliant entertainer and picture, but every job, everyone, you knew your skill.
Was
you
he
know
a
what I mean?
Jewish fella, Barney?
Well, to be honest, he looked Jewish to me.
Yeah, he did to me.
He looked Jewish to me, but it's like you said, Fred, and you was correct. He opened his shops, all over, Low Broughton Road,
He did.
Eccles New Road,
Yeah.
all over,
Mm.
but his warehouse was on Bury New Road, the old Temperance Hall.
Billiard hall, yeah.
the billiard hall.
Right facing where I was born.
Yeah, right there. And that was there for years, His driver used to live, I lived in Sussex Street, Low Broughton, in the shop there. Our John lived on Blackfriars Road in the shop there.
Well, you've known poverty, lad.
You know, right next to the cut.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And his name was Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Well, to be honest, I don't know. I'll be telling lies.
Jackson's not Jewish, is
You
it?
know.
Jackson is not a Jewish name.
But you can change your name, can't you?
Sure.
It might have been Slomovich or something like that.
Do you know when they wrote Almonds and Raisins, Maisie Moschkow? Have you
Yes.
ever read it about the
I
Jews
did,
coming
yeah.
over? When Maisie Moschkow came over, she changed the name to, it was Moscovich, and she changed the name to Maisie Moschkow. Now, her relation was a big pal of mine, Phil Moss. Now, he was
The
one of
dance
the,
trainer,
yeah,
yeah.
the orchestra leader, Phil Moss. He changed his name to Phil Moss from Moscow, from Moscovich. And they came over, and everybody used to change the name.
Yeah.
I mean, Alan Henry Whitehead, that's not his real name. Oh, no.
He's going to come in.
Ronnie Biggs is his real name, eh? Ronnie Biggs from the Great Train Robbers.
Can we just introduce Alan Henry Whitehead? Can we get him in?
Send him down! Send him down!
Can we see him, man?
Fascinating listening to this lot. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's coming in. You're right.
No turning back now.
Look up there, they get a full frontal. That'll frighten a
I
few
don't know where
rabbits.
to start with this one. First time
Well-
I've been quiet, outspoken of these characters. So, just unbelievable.
Tell us about your beginnings.
My beginnings will have you crying.
Well, we can cry.
my-
Flynny and I, we've cried many
Away
times
from my
before.
family.
I've seen your
I think
ways
it was about
down.
13.
Damn, man.
13 in our family. My mum died when I was a few months old, and my dad had plenty of girlfriends, and we just, whenever we got a new house, we were squatted in it. We didn't have no electric or gas. I've seen your gas meter down there, Fred. I remember watching my dad many a times take him out of the house. We literally had
That's
nothing.
there for fun though,
Yeah.
it's not for screwing.
When I was a kid, I used to have to knock on people's houses to get food. If they was going to a school one way and I was going the other to wag it, I'd still go to their house for breakfast. We literally had nothing as children, and I remember them days very well.
Your dad knocked you about, didn't he?
For doing wrong, he was lethal with me as a kid. He's still alive. He's my dad. I love him to bits, but
Oh, you should, yeah. But you've done remarkably well, haven't you? Let's get it right.
Yes, you're a poacher turned gamekeeper because now you're
You
Alan
keep
Henry
saying-
Whitehead, millionaire of Chatmoss.
You keep saying this.
Right, hey, you deny it then.
Taxman's list.
Tell me you're skint,
I've got no money,
but you're
and I'm saying it with a straight face. I don't live for money no more, Fred. I chase money all my life.
asset rich.
My kids are.
You might be cash poor, but you're asset rich.
Let's explain to the viewers.
You've done well.
Could you say to the viewers that you
Yeah.
own the fisheries, don't you?
I own Moss Farm Fisheries. I
Moss
built
Farm
Moss Farm
Fisheries?
Fisheries. I bought it in 2005.
Yeah.
It's meeting me missus and my kids. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Lovely lady, nice
Um,
kids.
Yeah.
Plug your fisheries,
It makes
Alan.
me the
Plug
proudest
them
thing.
fisheries.
Moss Farm Fisheries. We have 6 lakes because I've got
Oh,
6
hang on, what does
children.
it say there?
6
lakes.
6 lakes.
One specimen lake,
3
5 pleasure lakes. What goes on the pleasure lakes?
Toilets on
Pleasure.
site,
Not-
cafe,
not things that you're
sapple
thinking,
shop,
Fred.
and COVID compliant.
Yes, and
Do we get paid for
we've
throwing
got-
that advert?
yeah, you've got
Good
some
one.
free fishing.
I'd rather go in the cafe, me.
We have plenty of beehives on there, so we sell a good bit of honey.
We actually got a jar as gifted to us. It was fantastic. I had it on toast and porridge.
How many hives have you got, Alan?
takes me a bit because I'm illiterate.
It doesn't
I think
matter.
we've got 12 or 13 beer.
What about the microbrewery? You don't even drink and you're opening a microbrewery, you crackpot. What's all that about?
I was ill in 2010.
Right.
I was chasing money all my life and I didn't give. I nearly swore then. I didn't give 2 hoots for anything or anything.
Hey, don't say two hoots
Until I
on
was ill.
this.
I was ill. I was ill in 2010, and they found shadows on my lung.
What, cancer?
They thought it was,
Right.
and it just made me turn my life around. And all I live for now is my kids, my family, and Chatmoss and Salford in general. I fall out with everybody who's done me favours over the last few years for the sake of how Salford's going, and it's heartbreaking. We're having buildings, beautiful buildings, on the verge of falling down, just through corporate greed. Disgusting. We've got a Gothic chapel in Agecroft Cemetery that is in desperate need of financial money. Yet this council, Beulah Park, this council chooses to give corporate companies money like the RHS Bridgewater. Even though it's beautiful, we've got other interests in Salford what we should be looking after first.
Sure, you're right.
This is my argument.
Preservation of buildings.
I'm not against anybody coming in and making a living in Salford or anything good, but if somebody's coming in and taking millions of pounds of the taxpayers, first look after our wildlife, don't shoot the deer, look after Salford, look after the people of Salford, look after the buildings of Salford. This is why I'm in uproar with the mayor and some councillors.
Sure.
For what I've got left on this planet, I can't sit back with what I've got and say, toss everybody else. I'm not about that. I'd rather upset people if they're doing wrong. And I think at present, Salford is not the Salford I grown up in, and I don't like it.
Well, of course it's not. It's not the Salford we all grew up in, is it? Salford has changed. The things that made Salford great wasn't Salford. It was the people.
Yeah.
The people made Salford great. The characters, the Danny Graysons, the Barry Pollards, the Barry Penlingtons.
Vinnie Guerreros.
Yeah, you know them all. The Applegates on Dean, on what, Regent Road.
The Winders.
Yeah, the Winders. You know a few villains.
Yeah.
You know a few villains. Yeah, but why did your life turn round? You changed your life.
Because when I thought I was riddled in cancer, I had to go to Manchester Royal and they had to do a biopsy.
Right.
Well, they done one. They done one. They didn't do one. They took me into theatre and they didn't check my chest before I went in. I had a severe chest infection, so I went down. I went into a spasm and I come out and I can honestly say it now. For 2 hours, all I wanted to do was commit suicide.
I think every one of us has been near that at one time.
No,
if you're honest.
I went into a spasm and I come out of it and they shouldn't have let me out. And I remember my wife picking me up and I'd driven over the flyover. And all I was thinking, and I was very relaxed, and I just remember looking right over the highest peak. As soon as this traffic stops in rush hour, I'm off that. And for a few hours, and I thought, if I get through this, all I want to do is good for Salford. And that's what made me change my life. I was so genuinely, and people say, why do you do all this shouting? You've got hidden agendas, you want to do this, you want to do that. I don't. All I want to do is see Salford go a little bit back to how it used to be and care for people and care for the buildings and the community. When I grown up, I could go in anybody's house and get something to eat. It's gone, and it's an heartbreak. Yeah, but it's an heartbreak. It's we can still look after our communities, and we can still look after our buildings and our history. We don't, and it's just for the sake of corporate greed.
We've got some good news about the Beulah Mansion, though.
Yeah, we have.
Paul Dennett has actually put aside money for it, which we applaud him. I think that will be his swan song before he goes out. That's his farewell. He'll look after the mansion.
But it's not just that. It's for the first time in a while we're seeing somebody in Salford Council that when he leaves his post, he will be remembered for something good.
Yeah.
And saving Beulah Park buildings and the outbuildings will be a tremendous achievement for him.
Sure.
After everything else, the other stuff he's done, he's brought a lot of business to Salford, and we have to remember that. Like, I'm the first to slag Peel Holdings, but we have to remember as well the amount of business they bring to our city, media city. It's all good. The RHS Bridgewater might be a good project, but I have issues with killing our animals.
I do as well.
It's called Road Green for a reason.
Yeah,
up there because of the road there.
That's right.
First thing, if you're getting money off somebody, you look after everything
Yeah,
about
one
it.
of it, yeah.
And I was witnessing that for 2 years before that happened. Cruelty to them, forcing animals out of their homes with machines and letting them drown in the canal. I witnessed that, and I was sending
You used
that.
to go and watch them.
Every Sunday I videoed that and sent it to certain people in council, and nothing got done of it 2 years before. Now they're calling me. They say I'm a bit potty and that. I might be.
You can.
But for the right reasons. We're all a bit potter, but
Yeah.
I'm doing it for the right reasons. So when I'm saying little remarks on, sometimes I'll make a remark on the internet and go to bed laughing at myself.
You do it on purpose.
No, I
you
do,
bugger.
because
I've seen the way you work.
yeah, no, look, enough people call me, and I don't mind it. I've called enough people, but
Yeah.
I don't know these people I call in the council personally, so it's not a personal thing. The first time I ever met Paul Dennehy was I was screaming at him at Beulah Park the other week.
You give him a hard time.
I did, but I did it for a reason, and we think the reason's paid off now because Beulah's getting saved. Don't
So what
start-
do you have to say to Paul Dennett then?
You're a gentleman. If you're saving Beulah Park, you are a gentleman. Thank you very much from
Goodbye.
everybody in Salford. But don't say something and not do it. Don't
Sure.
say something and not do it.
Me and Tony, we've spoken to Paul about it, and he seems really, really genuine about wanting to do it. It's not something like he gets a lot of stick, and yeah, a lot of it's justified sometimes, but it's not a political thing. I think he wants to do it more as like a legacy, to leave something to
It's
say,
really
look,
legacy's leaving
I've
the
brought
factory.
this back and I've done something good.
Did you all hear the voice of the Lord?
Yes.
Coming from nowhere, the voice of the Lord.
Did you used to go to Beulah Park?
Yes.
Remember it?
Yeah.
Did you have
Went
one
to
to
the
it?
mining
I
museum.
used to work for the landscape department in the council, so I
Did
used to
you?
go. Yeah, that used to be.
Do you know Colin Hughes? Colin used to be in Smithy there. Mate of mine, mate Sid, who's his brother.
I'm a little bit younger than you, Fred. So,
You're a lot younger than me.
some of the names you mentioned.
You're better looking than me as well, you.
Thank you.
I've always regretted
But,
that. When I'm with you, people say, look at Alan Whitehead, but look at that slag he's with.
No, you're 100% right.
You can have a fight, I believe, as well. You don't mind a fist fight, do you?
No, I've been battered off everybody.
I know.
I can honestly say
Especially the women.
I've never come first in any fights.
When I was pro boxing, I had 129 knockouts, and then I finally won one.
What I do, Fred, if somebody offers me out, say, have him a fight next to me.
Yeah,
Leave
pass
me
it
alone.
on.
Yeah.
Pass it on.
Yeah. But it's not about fighting, it's
Fighting, the same thing. Your family, boxing,
Yes.
and you yourself can do a bit.
Right. Well, the boxing
Heritage.
the boxing comes in from the Green Gate.
Yeah.
A lot of people, obviously, because Salford has changed that much,
Yeah.
and the younger generation, they've never known it existed.
Snowflakes and wokes.
The hut in Greengate, and the hut was situated behind the Star pub on Greengate.
Yuri Duffy.
Correct. And it was also known as Parties. And the hut was above the single-storey shops on Greengate.
Yeah,
You went
yeah.
up to the steps off Greengate, and it took you up to the hut. Now the hut belonged to the brewery, Chester's Brewery, as did the shops next to it.
You said dances there, didn't they?
Correct. And the dance hall was run by a man right through the 40s and the 50s called Harry Thornton. Harry Thornton lived in what we call the top end of Sussex Street, which was the Low Broughton Road end,
Yeah.
right? There was some garden
I wouldn't
houses.
call that the top end. I'd call the top end of Sussex Street Great Clues Street.
No, the top end, Sussex Street ran from Low Broughton Road across Great
should I
Clues
say?
Street.
Yeah.
Have a fight.
But I'd call that the top end near the barracks.
No, how could you? There's another half to it.
Fight.
Well, I've
There's
been
another
ill.
half. The top half would be Low Broughton Road, where it started. The bottom half was where the bridge was, near the Vav. at the
He's
bottom.
winding you up.
The
he's going to
Vavassor.
a fighter.
The Vavassor.
I used to go out with Linda Hewitt, the barmaid there.
Correct. I know.
Hi Linda, if you're listening.
Yeah.
I'm still around.
What's her surname?
Hewitt.
Linda Hewitt.
Still around and available. And I can
Anyway.
still take my weight on my elbows.
Anyway,
Yeah,
coming
so
back
what?
to the hut.
Yeah, about
You're right,
yeah,
it was the Vavassor, but I was on.
You, I know.
See, I'll keep
You
it
know, do you know, just going off, I said before, we was also known as Winders.
Yeah.
You know what his nickname was?
Computer?
Drafty.
Drafty windows.
Drafty windows.
Here's a pain.
Yeah, that was his nickname.
Oh,
Pain, yeah, you see.
John will pick
You
it.
wouldn't get this humour, you'd have to pay for it anywhere
Oh,
else.
you would.
Yeah.
So anyway,
High class banter.
Harry Thornton was a part of the Grandads,
Banter. Yeah.
and he gave the hut up for dancing, the late 50s. I was a kid, I remember it well.
Is this Thornton?
Harry Thornton,
And it was in a hut.
he had the hut on Greengate.
Well, didn't he go on to the cabins after that? And
Can I just tell you my quick story
Thornton's
about
chocolate
Yeah,
cabins.
of course you can.
A lady I know, June, she's old, she'll be nearly 80 now. Lovely woman, dead funny, dead brought woman, dead down to earth. I was chatting to her the other week and she said the hut, she had a flat and some grass there.
Back of the hut.
She wasn't June's Furnishes, was she? Near the Flatiron.
No, but I won't say her surname. She's June, you're the
You
lovely
can say
woman.
her name on it, it doesn't matter.
That was actually called Paradise Hill, that.
Oh well, June, you're right then.
I
Yeah.
thought Darniels was the place to go.
No, Diggle Daggle for
Too
us.
sandy.
Was it?
Too sandy.
Diggle Daggle.
Sandhills for me.
That was the back of St Matthias Church, Diggle Daggle, off Ford Lane. But if you didn't, we always said, what was it? You didn't come from Salford if you didn't play on Diggle Daggle, right? But anyway,
Do you remember the girls that used to have a thing called the Monkey Run? Anyway, it can be anywhere in Salford.
That was a main
But
thoroughfare,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. And the girls used to go parading down in the slingback stiletto heels.
Yeah.
Salford
Looking at-
girls,
yeah, look-
white stiletto slingback heels with black
Lord Broughton
fishnet
was noted.
stockings on.
Lord Broughton was noted for it because they'd watched the reflections in the shop.
Absolutely, George Glass's window.
Yeah.
And it was flared out, the
Also
frocks that
watch.
they wore, Durndale skirts with loads and loads of net underwear with sugar on it to make them stand out, and they had a 4-inch waspy belt and you could snog it. Oh, I remember it. I remember it well. Happy days then. Did you ever have a waspy belt or was you straight?
This is why Alan. We never had a
Snake belt, me.
Yeah.
I had a straight belt, black and yellow.
Yeah.
Go on,
They
Flynny,
get me
sorry.
different colours.
I said to Alan, this is why we never have a script.
Oh,
We start with
No,
one,
you can't.
and then just get off.
Honest to God, you'll agree with this. The best hour we had was before we went on there.
Oh, I tell you,
There's a
I
good
tell you
job I
what.
wasn't mic'd up.
I know, because you'll be clock watching in a minute.
No, no.
No.
Right, so
The viewers will be clock watching,
I
thinking
want-
it's time for tea.
I want to tell you about the Kismet after. Right.
Oh,
Anyway,
Sissy.
The next thing, the hut. My grandfather took it over in the late 50s.
Your grandfather?
My grandfather. Yeah. I've got a bill in there, a very old bill, and you know.
Oh, I've still got a load in there.
Go on, let's have a look at the bill then. Come on, get the documents
If you know
out.
any history about boxing,
A little bit.
right? Well, you'll recognise this one, and the person
Boxing.
involved, not sadly a long time not with us, not from very far from here.
Oh, I like that.
John.
Oh, that's
You
not
won't
good.
do
get that
that.
right.
You won't do that. That is the.
Joe Furnace.
By the way,
I Kid Fairness.
Kid Fairness.
Right? No, I've got to. I don't want it
No, you
coming
it'll
apart.
fall apart.
The docks building's named after him.
Right? Hold that.
Okay.
Pull that down at the furnace house.
Yeah.
Well, look at this boxing history.
Could you not get a new in there, Pete?
I've actually got. I've had
Oh.
it reprinted.
Hold it up so that the viewer can see it.
Peter Kay. I tell you where he was from. He was
Colborne.
Goulburn. Yeah.
Near Wigan.
Oh.
But he was born in Heywood.
Monkey Town.
Yeah. Promoter Jack Winder.
Sam Topless. Hey,
Oh,
Jack Winder.
Yeah.
What's this? 12
He
and
promoted
13?
it.
Can we hold that to the
Yeah, of course
camera?
you can, certainly.
Hold it up, Alan.
You get one on Alan. Can we write that out?
Hey, 10 and 6. That wasn't cheap in those days for a ticket, 10 and 6.
Do you know where that was, Fred?
Go on.
The Co-op Club at the Club.
Get up.
Corner
Blimey.
Club.
Used to be Uncle Tom's cabin.
No, Uncle Tom's was on
Right,
the opposite
yeah.
side. The Co-op, right in the corner of Cleggs Lane.
What
That
year-
is Uncle
what
Tom's
year is
cabin.
this then?
Well, I thought, oh no, it was St Anchor's on the other side.
Yeah.
St Anchor's,
It's now the Liberal Club or something on the other side.
What
No,
year
I
is
knew
that
it was
then?
that.
I think the date's on it.
Oh, 49.
Yeah.
It'll be after that.
Yeah.
Hey, Harry Furness. I bet Kid Furness won
Kid
that
Furness,
match,
yeah.
did
Well, no, he was the referee.
Oh, can
he?
I?
No, but Kid Furness was a boxer.
Harry Kid Furness
Yeah.
from 1903.
Not related. Not
Just so you-
related.
Oh, right.
Harry Furness.
Just say there.
I'll make sure you win.
Sam Topless, Pendleton, who carries dynamite in both fists.
This will be Marchant's country. The Marchant
Stockport,
Gardner
a
Street.
rugged, tough
Gigglesford,
fighter.
the Priory.
I know it, yeah. I know.
Marchant did put that on. My grandfather did.
I know he did,
Yeah.
but this guy
Well,
here.
Oh, he might box for Marchant.
Of course he
To
did.
be honest,
Stable,
Fred,
yeah.
they all boxed because they got paid cash in hand. In them days, it was
Marvellous that.
A
You got
bo-
that friend.
yeah,
you
a
do.
boxer.
What I
Right,
do.
the fighters. I'll mention a boxer's name in a bit, which Fred from Cross Lane area, right? All the old fighters. My grandfather fought on boxing booths,
Right.
right?
As did Joey Plant.
Yeah, he caught the gloves. Basically, he went 3 rounds without going down.
Right.
He caught the gloves. So they asked him would he carry on boxing. He boxed in the 1920s, 30s, right?
Hard fights.
All
nowadays.
them, all fights, but they didn't just box. They had to work. He had to work the markets during the day.
Sure.
He'd go and fight at night.
That's right. Days graft and carry on.
The guy might be working on a building site.
Yeah.
I'm going. They wasn't like all powder puffs and everything, and sat in an hotel room and saunas.
Training like Fred
Yeah.
Bruno, you know what
They
I mean?
went out. They had
Yeah.
to go out and they fought at night time. That was that era, and he put a lot of the old fighters. I'm talking about old fighters.
Yeah, yeah.
Jackie
And
Brown.
one in particular used to come on the market, and as I say, Cross Lane Market, and it's a word I don't like.
Use it.
Punch drunk.
Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
Freddie Webb.
Freddie Webb. I mentioned him
Webb.
in the Cross Lane book.
Freddie Webb, you come up to the market because he knew my granddad from the boxing days. Jack Kidd Doyle was another one. He came out of Lower Broughton,
Yeah.
but Jack Kidd Doyle wasn't.
Yeah.
He
Jackie Brown was a very
Jackie
famous
Brown.
fighter. Yeah.
Paddy Ryan, they all used to come up to the market.
Most
But-
of these guys
but a lot
have
of
been
them
passed on now, won't they?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Well done,
yeah.
Fred, well done.
But Freddie, the last time I seen Freddie Webb,
Mm.
I think he was living in Park Place.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
remember
Doss
that?
houses, of course,
Remember
yeah,
that,
yeah.
Have you never mixed with Steve Foster, the Viking? Steve's a pal of mine, the Salford Viking. You know him, don't you, Flynny?
I know.
Steve Foster.
Yeah.
Well, these are like
Brilliant
the fighters from the 30s, aren't they? The
Oh,
arcade
and they used to
fighters,
come up and
rock
they used to
roll.
say, "How are you, Jackie?" You know what I mean? And that, and you could see there was young men once, and there was hard.
Sure.
And and
Yeah.
there was when he had the hut in Greengate, Joe Plant used to come down and do his training because he was in the fight game, Joe.
He was boxing booth
Right.
fighter for
He
the
was.
fairgrounds, travelling.
That's how they knew him because they say my grandfather was on the boxing booth.
Knew Joe
Right.
very well.
Any boxers out there watching?
Yeah.
Um,
Get in touch.
So, those people, a lot of people, they mention them. They used to come to the hut, but he was an old chap, and I spoke to his granddaughter, it might be his great granddaughter, 12 months ago. And he used to come down to the hut. He must have been 60 odd then, right? He was a gentleman. Always wore a trilby. If he seen a lady walking down, he always,
Took his hat off.
Right? And he used to say, "Jackie, get us a fight. You know what I mean? Said, you know what I mean? You're retired now, One of the fights I remember was in St Boniface's schoolyard, open air show, and it was for raising funds for the new, which has now been pulled down, St Boniface's church.
Right, so that playground would have been behind Pet's Corner.
Yes.
Right, I'm with you.
And that is where I was there that night. Right? I was there. Right? And it was set up in the school playground, the old church, where the footbridge goes over to the dog track.
Yeah, what's it called?
Is that
bridge?
General Road there?
It's not Cock Robin Bridge. What's
No,
it
Cock
called?
Robin Bridge.
It's
is
where all the
that-
poets
Well,
are named.
well,
Poets
obviously.
Corner,
Well,
isn't it?
Yes, near Poets Corner.
What's it called?
Off
then?
Lane Bridge, isn't it?
No, Off
No.
Lane Bridge is further up off Low Broughton
It
Road.
faced the bridge. The bridge was
Right.
named after it. What Eddie Rowlands had, the Bridge Tavern
Oh.
pub. It's pulled
My
down
cousin,
now.
cousin had the bridge.
Did he?
Matt Winder. Yeah.
It must have been before
In the
Eddie
70s.
because when I remember the tanker coming from.
In 1970s.
Yeah.
We used to live behind that, where they
Did
made
ya?
the coffins.
Yeah, that was what they called
We used
it.
to sit in them and lay in them, and it was raining.
In
But
the
that-
coffin.
In the coffins.
That was Lickler's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lickler's what used to make the coffins.
We used
Yeah.
to go to North Grecian Street.
Yeah.
When it was raining, we used to get in them and put the lids on.
Why?
Keep dry.
I'm not tired.
Anyway, so after that, the hut, the foundation started to go on it,
Right, okay.
and it belonged to the brewery, and the brewery wouldn't. It was famous. The hut was famous, and the brewery wouldn't pay.
Thank you. Chester's was it?
It
wasn't
was
it?
Chester's, yeah.
Fighting beer.
Black best
Chester's
malt.
black, yeah.
They would not pay to have
I
it.
can.
Yeah, I would please. Can't. Anyway,
Alan, try to do it
We went
quietly
from-
and surreptitiously. We don't want people to think we're getting legless.
so
I'll
This
enjoy
is
that.
the second
It-
grade.
it closed down. Tony, I'm sorry if I'm taking the, a bit
No,
long-winded with this.
no.
Right? When that closed down, he donated his ring and all his equipment to Salford Police on the Crescent, and that is when they opened up the boxing at the Crescent. I boxed at the Crescent.
That'll be in the reign of Len
Yeah.
Starkey.
Dave
Well,
Connell.
the guy who run it was Walter Metcalf,
Mhm.
and his sidekick was a guy called Ronnie Hackett. He was, they was both professional boxers in the time. He was getting on,
Yeah.
but my grandfather was still getting involved with it. But yet he donated his equipment.
That was good of him.
The last show he promoted and put on, where do you think it was? And it was for Salford Police. And I was there all the night. No,
For the old
Was it open air?
no,
So we're looking at a famous building like that.
famous building.
The Victoria
Top of
Theatre?
No,
Freemasons.
no.
Famous building.
I was there
in Salford?
in Salford. You know it. Tony knows it better than any of us.
Why would you know it better than any of
I
us?
used to sign on there every Tuesday.
Salford Magistrates Centre.
Salford Bags.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
Bexley
Yeah.
Square.
Salford Dip.
Oh, Rochdale.
It was the Windsor Theatre then.
That's
Yeah,
well
I
done.
should
That
have
was
said
the
that,
last
yeah.
year.
That's opposite
That would
Parker's
be about
Cafe.
that. It
Parker's
next
Cafe
door.
on the
Next
corner.
door. It would-
Carol, one of
it-
my ex-girlfriends.
It would be about 1961.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be.
Right? And he put that on, promoted that for the Salford Police.
Right.
Right? And that was on the stage. They built it up on the stage, the ring. I was with him. I was a kid. Whether or
You
not,
would have been in
but you had to
61.
work with him.
Sure.
You still had to bloody work. I'd work as hard. A bloke. I was cheaper, wasn't I?
Of course
You
you
know
would.
Yeah.
what I mean?
Get community service to do it now.
Oh, no, yeah. But so that was the boxing. But there was many fights put on at the barracks, Cross Lane Barracks,
Yeah.
and everything. But I never forget the one at, in particular, with St Boniface's in schoolyard, because all the local kids climbed over. There used to be a power station, Norweb or something next door, and you could climb over the yard, get on the wall, and you could see.
Yeah.
And there was one boxer in particular, who was called Skelly, and he was dirty, and all the kids. He was a dirty fighter. All the kids was under Dirty Skelly, Dirty Skelly. Boo!
I like him.
You
I
know,
like him. I'm worried on him.
that was, that was what they call it. That was the boxing. But what year was you doing the clubs in town, Fred?
64. No,
Right.
65. 65.
So you came across a few bouncers.
A lot of them.
Did you ever come across
This is
A
what
guy-
we want to hear.
called Fred Kid Lewis?
Of course, did I ever? He could pack a punch, that kid.
Fred was a boxer for my granddad.
Was he really?
And he worked on the market with us, and he fought at the Hut, and he fought at St Boniface's that night.
He worked with a kid called Lionel, who since has died.
Fred was a bit punchy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he was a belting lad.
Do you know when I worked at the beer keller, Joe Plant, the guy you mentioned earlier, that they used to have the Shade Joey.
Yeah.
We were opening up one, not a dissimilar day to today, a lovely Sunday night, and it was about 7:30 in the evening. Now Joey opened at 8 o'clock.
Amos Talbot.
Amos Talbot, it's Amos watching!
I was going to mention Amos Talbot because I was there when he was there. He was older than me.
Did anyone know Dyke Archer? I've seen that name on handbills. Dyke Archer.
And Lynn Edmonds spent a month, oh no, she spent her youth in that park, the one that you said flatten the grass. It must have been. But then Ireland,
Put a cold flannel on Fred's neck.
yeah. And Lynn Cullen and Griffin says, my pop told me that when we were coming back from the doctors, just before he passed, he had dementia, but he said, this was the monkey run when I was a lad. Never stop learning, no matter how old you are. That was what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The girls used to parade up and down, and all the lads would be, or if you were in Higher Broughton near the Jewish area, they used to shout out, "Lend her one."
Amos Talbot, is he Irish lad?
No, he's
Salford.
I think you went to St John's Cathedral.
Right, yeah.
Amos is a big pal of Sid. He was my pal that's gone, a belly fella.
Amos, he came from Trinity area.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't he go to St Albert's School, I think, Amos?
He may have done. He was a good boxer.
Yeah, yeah.
Last I heard, Amos, he had a chip shop in
He's been battered a few times.
Rochdale. Yeah.
Yeah, we were sorry, I've done that one time.
Sorry, Amos,
Outside Old
sorry,
Trafford.
And
Well, a nice bloke though, a
he
real nice
ended
fella,
up
Amos.
running a boxing club
Yeah.
in Rochdale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amos Talbot, I can see him now. Yeah.
I don't see him, that's
gym
what I've
on,
just said.
on
Big
on
pal
the
of Sid
Crescent.
Hughes was Amos.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Colin, all the
Amos-
Hughes family, they've got
Oh,
on well with
he was
him.
a thumper.
Oh yeah, he could have a go.
He was a thumper.
I wouldn't have been on the back end of it if
No,
I'd refused
yeah.
one of his hot dogs or
No,
chippies.
It was but I believe he started teaching young kids boxing up in. Because
In fact,
how I found that out.
You fought though, didn't you, Peter?
I did.
You was a bit.
Yeah.
So he's hiding his
I
life.
interviewed him on the radio, and I think
Yeah.
he brought his daughter on. I
Yeah.
think his daughter was starting boxing.
Right.
I'm going back a few years. Tell me I'm wrong, Amos. I can't, but I know I've
Well-
definitely had you in the studio with me.
This is where Terry Burke fell out with me.
Right, Mr. Burke, our school teacher
Our
from
school
St
teacher.
Thomas of
Right.
Canterbury.
There we go.
Terry Burke, right?
Smartly!
He started the boxing team up.
Ex-guardsman.
Right?
Yeah.
At St Andrews. But he knew my family was involved with the boxing.
Right.
And
Right.
what happened, he set a boxing team up in St Andrews. And we used to have the matches with the other schools at the Crescent.
All right.
Right? Well, of course, some of the people at the Crescent knew me because I used to box at the Crescent. Right?
They thought we had a ringer.
Right?
Hey.
And I got through, after the box, I was through to
Yeah.
the Lancashire Schoolboy Championships.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Terry Burke, or Mr. Burke, he always picked me, I had to spar with him. Right?
Could you have a fight, Terry Burke?
I tell you what, he never pulled any punches. He didn't. I mean, you're talking a grown man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? An ex-guardsman.
Yeah.
But he'd come on, young
He
man.
had a James
Boom,
Cadet moped
boom.
that he used to come to school on.
Right.
I remember it
Oh.
well.
Anyway, I got through to Lancashire Schoolboy Championships,
Hmm.
and it was at Stretford. Coming back, it was a market day. It was a Saturday.
A market day where? In Stretford?
No,
Salford.
Salford.
for us, Grahamere Lane Market. I was
Oh right,
working on.
Leslie Don's place.
Yes, and the guys what should have been working with my grandfather never turned in, so
You could have been a contender.
I never went. And I told him, no, I told him I wasn't going.
Sorry, Flynny, it was
Slow down.
could have been a contender.
Yes,
Mile
slow
there,
down,
mile
yeah.
on. Go on, carry on.
But anyway, that's history. You know what I mean? I never.
I've always admired boxing. I love it, watching it. I cannot for the life of me do it.
John
No.
boxed with me once
Doing that in me, trying to punch you.
in the hut.
Did
He boxed with
he?
me.
I
once.
used to fight with him at St Andrew's School 57
He
years
could-
ago. But it was only ever a toy fight.
Yeah, he couldn't. We couldn't beat him because he was prefect.
Oh,
he
he
couldn't
was
if he did
prefect.
anything.
You mentioned earlier on, was he
Toad of Toad Arm?
No, he was
Yeah,
Badger.
I was the Badger.
He was in it.
I was.
I always thought he was the copper.
No,
He's got that look
was,
about him.
That was
Yeah.
Tony Lee, that. Tubby Lee who was the policeman.
Yeah. I remembered it. Yeah.
Really?
Mike Lee.
God,
Mike
almighty.
Lee, the
Yeah.
Mike Lee.
Oh, he went on to do
Super
finer
hell.
things, artwork and playwright and films and all that lot, but
Mike Lee.
it was only a fat-faced policeman when I knew
Naked.
him.
One of his
With the
things.
total-
Oh.
But if you remember that, I mean, all of us included, and I don't know about Alan because I don't know how old he is.
He's a lad.
He's only a kid, he's only 52.
A lot of our teachers came out of the army.
Oh yeah, discipline, straight line,
discipline.
all that gear, absolutely.
I remember being stood in the hall where you used to go in for your dinner. In the hall,
Yeah,
2 queues, and there was a lad,
we called it the refectory when I was there.
David Parker his name was,
Didn't know him.
and something happened and Garvey came in and he backchatted. He backchatted him.
You don't back chat Jerry Garley.
He hit him. I tell you what, bang! He was down. He didn't give him any more lip, and he said, "I'm going to tell your dad."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But your dad didn't come up.
No.
Because if you'd done something,
You got another one
you
of
got
your dad.
another one.
Yeah.
But did you not find, if you got his number?
You didn't tell, did you?
No, you didn't tell.
Yeah.
You was more frightened of the bloody priest.
That's right. Oh, Father Ginley.
Well, it was Watson when I first went.
Father Watson.
Yeah.
He looked like Bert Troutman.
Yeah, that's right. He used to,
German.
He was. No, Bert was.
very
but
cruel.
you
Father
know what I
Watson.
never liked though?
What?
Every Monday morning, school funds.
Oh yeah.
St Joseph's Penny.
Yeah,
Right
St.
down
Joseph's,
there.
yeah.
No, the St Joseph's penny was a collection at a certain time of the year.
Yeah.
The school funds, I think it was a penny or something.
So
like
you had to give it.
Of course you did.
You had to give it.
I said this in that Anki Park book.
Oh.
The Flynn family owned a small tribe in Africa. All the money we had to chip.
Yeah, for the
really go in.
black babies, £0.50. If you paid £0.50, you were adopted a black
I'm
baby.
thinking
That's
of going
right.
over there
In
and saving
Iceland or
my.
Uganda.
I want my
Yeah.
plot of land.
I'd like to see my black baby now. It'd be your age. I want it, Cop.
Well, Fred, we just happen to have been able to find.
Will you please come in now, young?
Well, surprise, surprise, he's here with us tonight. Come in, Obongo.
Do you remember though when Salford was clearing all like obviously Anki Park?
Yeah.
All over all
Well,
sorts.
we're 58, 59.
This is happened to me. I was working with a guy when Salford, the slum clearing started. I think it was after the war, through the 50s and through the 60s. At Little Open.
They sent us down to Kersal Flats. Blake House, number
Yeah.
1, 3rd floor, 31.
But before that, if you know, you had the choice.
A Little
lot
Open.
went to- yeah.
No,
But the Worsley people, they did not like us.
They still don't today.
And they
still don't.
Do you mean
Right.
Worsley and Salford?
Right? There was one chap, I never forget having an argument with Ernie Tilsley.
Ernie Tilson.
He was an ex-miner, right? And he turned around and he said, "You Salford, but he spoke with a Worsley twang. He was an old Worsley person, right? You know I'll tell you something, lad. I'll tell thee something.
Well, tell me something.
He said, you know when the German planes was coming over,
Aye.
I used to stand on our roof with a flash lamp and a board, wrote on it, Salford, 8 miles that way, bomb the bastards." Honest, he said. So I said, "And where does your wife come from, Fred?" Ernie.
I'm Fred.
He turned around and he said,
Where's your man from?
"She comes from Low Broughton."
My dad was on heavy attack during the war on the Irwell, and he used to get 10 bob for every plane that he shot down. He got 10 bob, and if he
Died of hunger.
yeah, if he actually dropped down a German plane, he used to get £1.
But you know, we used to have a bit of banter with him.
Yeah.
And but he used to be. They just did not like Salford people,
still don't.
and they didn't like it when we amalgamated in '74.
Why do you think? Just for a moment, seriously, why?
I
do
thought
you
we invaded it, but I said to Ernie, I've got to be
Missionary
careful what I
work.
say on it. I said to him,
Yeah.
it was all in jest, and I said, "But Ernie, you know why they had to build an overspill up here and fetches up here? Why is that then?"
missionaries?
I said, "Because you was all into bleeding.
Hey, you never know.
You had to get fresh blood.
You
know
never
what I
know.
mean?
There was a lot of that
And
went on, you know.
But
Listening to you brings back memories, says Lynn Edmonds. Does she know you, Peter? Does it ring a bell?
I might do, but I'm not admitting to anything.
Ian Larkin's been on from Salford City Radio. Hi, Fred and all. Hello, Ian. How the devil are you, Pop Larkin?
Yeah.
But
John Pavitt. Did anyone
Yeah.
know of
yeah.
Dyke Archer?
Yeah, we're going.
can I send a
hang on.
message to that John Pavitt? John
Tell him
Pavitt,
Do it.
Alan Aining sends his regards. He's a
Do you
Kersal
know
lad. He's a Kersal
Charlie?
lad.
This is brilliant. What? Tony's going to have an heart attack. What's wrong with Kersal? Oh. Do you know Charlie Two Veg? He was a snooker partner of John Virgo.
Well, they used to play in by auto, didn't they?
Charlie
Yeah,
Two
Fox-
Veg.
I know John Virgo. I know John very well, in fact. I've been
Bookings,
out,
wasn't it? Big gambler.
yeah, I've been out loads of times with John Virgo, but I've never met any guy called, oh, look at this.
Come on.
Lynn Edmonds, no, he doesn't know me. I'm Dimos' daughter. I know that Lynn Edmonds is Dimos' daughter and
Tell
one
her.
of the finest rugby players I've ever had the pleasure to meet and encounter and have a chat with in a pint. David Moses. Or Di Moses. Top lad. Of course I do, Lynn.
From Wales.
Kay Barton. They're blooming bonkers. It really cheers you up listening to them. Oh, she means you. She can't mean me and Flynny because we know we're bonkers. Yeah.
But you said before, Peter, about the school teachers being tough, rough.
Yeah.
You know, I experienced that myself, believe me.
Well, you went to a Catholic school.
Jesus, tell me about it. Cured now, man.
Rachel Barron's been on. This is brilliant. I think Tony's going to have a heart attack. And what's wrong with Kersal? There's nothing wrong with Kersal.
Nobody caught Kersal.
Nobody's like Kersal,
Lovely
yeah.
place.
There's plenty of times
I
like
live in
Kersal.
Kersal. He lives in Kersal.
I lived in Kersal on Blake House, 3rd floor, 31, Blue Door.
Peter Connor was a gentleman down there, an absolute gentleman.
Brilliant. He was.
Yeah, well said,
Absolute
really.
Well,
Yeah.
I mentioned that earlier on, didn't
lovely.
I?
Peter Connor, we've all said what a lovely man he is. Oliver said, we've all
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
it.
Gentleman.
So, you, Colin,
Salford
Colin
Council
Kersal.
should have more people like that in it. And
Jim Collins has been on the scourge of De La Salle rugby, and he says, hiya Jim, he said Amos Talbot, Russ Arrowsmith, Russ Davidson.
Russ Harris,
Russ Harris, lovely lad.
Do you know him?
Yeah. Harris
Same thing
engineer.
here.
Is he?
He's related to Tony, right?
School teachers.
Yes.
Bad.
Blind.
We're all very good friends with him, but I'm sure he's related
You
to
tell me, he
him.
said he was in the class one
Gentleman.
day.
Yeah.
He had a big
Done a lot of
Irish
stuff in
teacher
Salford.
there, big
Lynn Cullen and Griffiths, my old school
Give
chum
us- give
from
us-
St
give
Thomas
us-
and St Andrews,
give us-
completely
crying.
agreed. She said,
So you're gonna get
history
me
and
that.
heritage
Just
has
get
gone
him,
by
fill
the
him in and all.
board.
Send him over to the
Rachel Barron, hi Rachel, how's the quadricycle going? She's put on Rachel Barron, I totally agree with you. I used to be proud to say I was from Salford, but not now.
Who's that?
Who said
Rachel
that?
Barron,
Oh.
Len Starkey, his daughter. Len Starkey,
Oh,
of
did
the
she-
It's a
Crescent.
shame though, isn't it, with them comments, because there's good and bad everywhere, and there's a few problems that need
They're
to be sorted out in
blooming
Salford,
bonkers.
but
It cheers
it's
me
a
up.
shame. I don't like seeing that comment. It's heartbreaking.
I know, but when you're the mayor, you can alter all
No,
that.
it is. It's sad. It's heartbreaking.
well,
There's a lot of
make
good
another-
people in Salford.
make-
I'm stuck here between these today. I can't believe these stories. It's unbelievable, and these
true.
stories need telling. But to hear
That's
things
what
like
we're here
that,
for.
Yeah.
They're all
Salford's a
unbelievable.
lovely place,
With a conduit.
beautiful, and you should be proud if you're from here.
Yeah, tell them.
She doesn't live in Salford,
Does
she's
she
up
not?
in Moscow.
Come back to Salford.
Hey, come on, Rachel.
Come and have a can with us.
Bring John with you.
Yeah.
And William. And the other one that looks
In
like
fact,
Len.
bring some with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick. Yeah.
Salad, we don't need
Kismet.
it.
Oh, if you want, darling, it's a
Kismet.
bit sudden, but I'll kiss you if you wish.
Right.
Tell me about the Kismet,
I'll
that
tell you about
well-known
the Kismet.
Bangladeshi restaurant claimed to be Indian that was opposite Strangeways prison.
Correct.
Go on.
Did you ever go in there?
Many times.
A runner.
Well,
No. I always paid me. I always had a few
Chapel
bottles.
Street was
Well-
the runner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, we lived in Sussex Street.
Right,
A
okay.
money belt.
Round by the, what they call it? Money down.
Round back up to what
Do you know, one time, the kids, what they did, they pinched a pair of knickers and put it over the sus. What did it read?
Street.
Sex Street. That's how rough we was, you know. Anyway,
If I'd have known that, I'd have operated a bit more.
round by the mechanics, Sherburn Street, do a right, and you're into Sussex Street.
You are.
Right. The Kismet was obviously just on Berry New Road.
That's right.
What year is this?
Oh, 60s, mid 60s.
You'd have gone past the Bab and down Springfield Lane
Yeah,
and then turned right for the Kismet. I remember.
that's correct.
Would it be right in saying the Kismet?
Kismet.
Fate and all that. It was one of the very first curry houses.
It was, that's what I was saying to Fred.
Yeah.
I
It
agree
was,
with
that's
He
that.
kept
what I was
interrupting me though, didn't he?
No, it probably was. You're
It would have
probably
been
right.
well before the Alagar. That's why I was contradicting you on it.
No, the first curry I ever had was with my sister and my girlfriend at the time, Mavis, and it was in the Chittagong on Cheetham
I
Street.
know it.
And we're coming
That's
out
what
going
was
like
it
that.
called again?
That
Breathe-
Mavis from
Chittagong.
Medigate.
Yeah, we're going like that, breathing under the sodium lamps, and your breath was red.
Yeah.
But it's probably a trick of the light and all that. But
Probably
that was the
drugs you
first,
were taking.
first time I ever had a curry was
LSD.
fantastic, the Chittagong.
The
And then
Kismet,
the
though,
Kismet.
I want to know what's so special. Was it?
Well,
because
it was only they came now
Socialist,
and they
you
wanted some oilcloth. Right,
All
what
right.
they used to call it in them days,
Yeah.
oilcloth,
Yeah.
right? And can you come and fit it? So we used to fit it. But they wanted it doing on a Sunday afternoon.
Sure.
Not in the Kismet.
Where?
Round the corner, they had dwellings off Tenerife Street. Right?
Tenerife Street's a long way from the Kismet.
Yeah.
There's a long roll of line.
Well, I'm gonna.
Not bad for Flynny, right? One of his better ones.
The longer you pull it, the bigger it goes.
Do you know when I was at school and you used to get your shoes worn out and your dad put a bit of line on it?
in the back.
I was at the altar,
done it.
I was at the altar rails having communion and I heard him tittering behind me because he had a hole in my shoe and I told my dad about it. Guess what he put in it?
Bit of oilcloth.
He did, but it was parquet tile.
Oh, good.
So I thought, right, what about that? I'm a bit posh now.
Going up in a
Oh dear.
So this roll of lino, did you fit it in the
Right.
street?
There was a few rolls of lino.
There we go. That's
It was myself.
Like that bloke we saw yesterday.
Yeah, like that.
Eddie Winder. Now Eddie Winder is well, he still is, but he's in his 80s now. My dad's younger brother.
Right.
But there was a big age difference.
Yeah.
Edward was more like our brother.
Yeah.
Right. That's who owns. Well, it's his son what runs Winder's Carpets at Wharton. Eddie Winder. Wogden. Right.
Is that Winder's Carpets of Wogden?
Winder's Carpets.
Available open 7?
Yeah, all the time. But don't forget Salford Precinct, Jack Winder's Carpets.
Oh, hang on. Look, as if by magic.
They are. Look at that.
You see, we don't...
0161 for Manchester 7990820. Winder's Carpet.
Yeah, but
where else would you go to buy this quality?
But anyway,
Back to reality.
so it was Eddie Winder before he went up to Wogden.
Wogden.
Myself, a lad called Tony Hawkins and a lad called David Anderson.
Yeah.
And Pete McGovern. And we had about, there must have been 6 rooms what weren't fitting out. We didn't know what we was walking into.
Sure.
So we gets down back street. It was somewhere near the Biscuit Works.
Crisplin.
Right.
Wafer Works.
It was round there.
Ramsgate
Right.
Street.
Right, it was off Ramsgate Street.
I remember it well.
We walked in, honestly,
during the
Alan,
war.
what's this?
Codwell.
It was like being in the middle of Bangladesh. There was about 40 of them.
Did you lay the lino and do a runner?
We was kicking them out the rooms one by one, and he was walking about. What it was a shift system. As one lot went off,
The bed was still hot getting.
the other lot, and that's what was literally doing. And what we was doing, we had to move them to one side of the room. Well, we fitted one side.
And then move them back on the new
I
stuff.
tell you, we must have done it in about 10 minutes.
Jandy, cello.
6 of them, right? And did just drop down there where we was fitting.
Exhausted.
But it was an experience.
Oh, but
You know what I mean? See it, we used to go into Kismet, but there was 30 working in Kismet and 30 working there.
did you give him a price before you laid the oil? And the
Well,
oil
I can't remember, that had been up to
Did
me
you get a
granddad,
free
that.
meal?
Yeah.
Did you
I think
actually
we
get the
probably
price
did.
you asked, or did they want a haggle, Asian style?
But how did he do it Asian
Okay, we'll quote you £300, 300 quid. Right, we've done £300. Oh no, come on, no. Come, you couldn't do it for 250. No, it's 300. Oh, come. 250. Well, sir, yes. 250 and a nice balti. You know balti, what they call balti curry. Do you know what balti means? It's Hindu, the word Hindi for bucket.
It's Fred, let's not pee on our chips here.
Yeah,
The
right.
Bengal bolt.
Oh, yeah, the Bengal bolt.
Saying ignore him.
What are you saying?
I've not said anything wrong. You want something with his
Alright.
chicken on the bone?
We'll change cuisine now.
Yeah.
Frank Wong's.
Oh, best chippy in Salford.
Yeah, I brought them up.
If
Yeah,
yeah,
nothing-
Eccles knew.
Frank
I have
One's
brought-
fish cakes could give you orgasm.
Next to the counter, right?
It was next to the counter.
We-
Next to Bennett's Butcher. There was a counter, back Roman Road, Bennett's Butchers, Frank One.
I went in there about 20 years ago before they closed down,
I saw you.
right? And we fitted their kitchens out,
And?
right? And he remembered. He still remembered. I said,
Oh, I remember you two make bollocks on my floor.
You got
make bollocks.
he remembered. And I
got
was
finished
talking
job.
to him for it, and he left his customers. I'm talking to. how's your dad? You know what I mean? How's your granddad? But I come down to the shop. Does it sound Chinese? Right?
Yeah.
More than his
Come
Welsh.
down to the shop, little man, because he was only like small. Yeah. Little man, yeah. I remember. It's about time you bought some more, you know. And he said, still got it.
One of his lads
All
was
that
called
years
PQ,
later.
PQ,
He
and he
lives
had
on
a
Leicester
daughter.
Road,
It was
yeah.
a good-looking girl. The
Yeah.
Big
daughter.
roof on it.
That's right.
Is he still alive, Frank Wong?
Yeah.
Why don't he open? Frank,
Sponsor us.
open a chippy.
And he still remembered all them
Yeah,
years.
yeah, he is.
Yeah. And I think he liked to bet and a bit of gambling, casino.
Yeah.
I remember going in there. I'd been in the sun all night drinking Boddington's beer. I must have had about 60 or 70 pints of it, and I was still walking a straight line. If you were driving a car, drink bodies. I think it was something like 1.7%. And they used to get blokes coming in drunk, and they'd come into Frank Wong. I like the old China, you know, the old honourable
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And
Taking
Frank
piss.
Wong just looked at them for a minute, and if they started fighting, he used to get his chip basket, put it in the deep fat, and throw it over them like that.
Yeah.
They didn't do it again. Scalded
Excuse
a
me,
bit.
I got reprimanded off Facebook
For
a
mentioning,
one-day ban.
for mentioning.
Remember Little's on Oldfield Road?
Yeah, I
It's
do.
a Chinese chip shop now. And the chap says, "Do you remember the pub on Oldfield Road, Little's?" I said, "Yeah, it was a Prince of Wales."
Prince of Wales.
But it was known as Little's from a landlord from the 40s, 30s.
And Jolly's.
And I said, it's a few doors down. I said, it's now a Chinese chip shop.
Huh?
What happened to me, Carl? He's drunk again.
You can't say.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
If he said the word.
Our engineer's pissed.
No,
He's got banned.
because I mentioned the word.
Yeah.
I got banned
Got a
for
ban.
using racist
Facebook jail.
tones.
Because he said Chinese chippy, as if that's
Right.
it's a racist comment.
The strange
Some
thing.
snowflakes whinged about him.
Yeah, the nice thing
How
was,
bad is
his
that?
daughter got in touch and said, "Sorry to hear that. It was nice that you mentioned the chip shop and you
was
used a
lovely."
photograph
Right.
years ago of the chip here. We
Yeah.
brought back memories for us." I thought, you've all gone mad.
What happened with the Wigan owner? He left
Dave
the country,
Whelan.
didn't he? He got slaughtered for saying a similar thing.
Dave Whelan.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you've
Fraser.
just stirred a memory there. This time of the year,
June.
we must
July.
have all done it.
Oh,
For
I've
your,
done
for
it
your,
loads of
for your
times.
parent, for your mum, your grandma, or whoever. Whitewash the backyard.
Yeah.
With rock lime.
Dolly Blue in ours.
With a dolly blue in the dolly tub or a tin bath. Right. There was an article on one of the Facebooks, right? Whoever did
Bloody hell,
whitewashing,
you've got competition.
the cellars and the backyards.
Yeah, I got a block for 24 hours for putting the word whitewash.
Right? Listen to this. So I put on, yeah. I mean, Manchester Royal Eye Hospital, I think they all come from Salford. It was queuing up right down Oxford Road. Everyone got
As far
it
as I
there.
could see.
But my grandmother used to sell that rock lime, as far as the eye could see. You know, I tell you what,
It's
you want to
strong, this, isn't it?
buy some more of that.
What is it called, Stella?
That's what I
Hey,
call it.
buy some more of that.
He's sharp for an old fella, isn't he?
It's all coming back to me.
Well, listen, talking about getting pulled up,
Yeah.
right? So I said, yeah, did it many times, right? Whitewashed the backyard, always like the springtime or summertime.
But only halfway up. Just,
Only halfway up,
Yeah.
put a dolly blue in.
Yeah,
Right?
make it look
I
like.
said, but we used to always do it with a Turk's head brush.
Oh yeah, the round one.
Can't say
You
that.
just said what?
Oh, you can't say. Can you say Turk?
So, a Turk's head brush, and we used to sell them in the shop. My grandmother used to sell them in the shop. It was like a round brush,
Like a kebab.
right? So this
Can I have a non-specific person's brush?
well,
What you should say, isn't it, Richard?
well, this girl came on.
Non-gender washing the wall.
This girl,
This is Peter Winder, by the way. Nothing at all to do with it.
this girl came
Well
on,
done, Rongan.
and she turned around and she says, "Pete, I remember that. I remember it well, doing it with a Turk's head brush." And I thought, I haven't spelt it wrong. And I looked at my post. No, Turk's head brush. And I went, let's say her name was Carol. Carol, and I'm
Give us a surname.
I'm laughing, and I'm going,
Yeah, what
Carol,
was the surname of this Carol?
It's a Turk's head brush. She says, "Pete, I know what it is, but I'm not being done for inappropriate."
Like,
Behaviour.
yeah.
So she put Turd's head brush.
What a crap comment.
Hey.
Have we had any more insulting comments in there? bloody hell, you got. Listen, toilets don't have what? Stink, but worth the.
Kerry Barton's watching. Rachel Barron said it's heartbreaking, totally fed up of Manchester claiming all our history from Salford. If my dad and granddad heard me, they'd clip me round the ear.
What
Quite
about
right
the
too.
Scouts? They had Turks Head Woggles.
Yeah, Kerry Barton said, what's happened to the drink short supply this week? I don't think so.
Ross, we got no Salford rum.
I thought you was getting some rum.
These are mine here. These are mine. These are what you don't see, what I put behind
The
them.
last hour.
Yeah, no, I like a drink. It's no good saying that. I drink to forget. I do.
What if you forgot?
I forgot.
Ah,
That's why I do it,
Well,
Alan. You've got to drink to forget.
Yeah, we have.
No, I'm alright,
Oh,
car
okay.
driving. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have one, Carl.
no, we can't.
Well, you're up
I'm
there,
waiting
mate.
for the bus.
Yeah, the bus on Astley Road.
It's a good job I got my bus pass on.
Hey, I'll tell you what, it's great to see you two fellas.
lovely.
This guy, 57 years since we were together
I know,
at
yeah.
St Andrew's School.
Yeah.
You I didn't know because you were in a lower class.
Yes.
And when you're at school, you look up to the forms above you.
You certainly
and
do,
make
yeah.
them heroes, or the forms that you're on a level with, but you never look down.
No.
It was forbidden to look down. Oh, it's only first year. or-
Yeah.
When I nicked those cakes, those jam tarts off Miss Lyons, the flat-chested house.
Oh, I remember
Do
that.
you remember that?
I certainly do. Yeah.
Absolutely nothing in the top
I do remember.
area.
Yeah.
Took my prefect's badge off me in front of Teddy Burke's class and said to me, give me your prefect's badge. Mr. Burke, she said, and I'm sure she called him Teddy in the staff room. Mr. Burke, Fred Fielder has stolen cakes from the girls in the housegraph room of the first year. I thought, I'm going to get it all off Teddy Burke when she got it. She said, give me your badge. And she turned on her heel and walked out with a flat chest as well through the door with the thing on the door that shut behind her. And Teddy Burke looked at me and I thought, I'm going to get it here. He says, Fred, fancy getting caught.
Yeah. that was his sense
He
of
was
humour.
great.
He was.
cracking
I
up.
tell you, he was. A lot of people didn't like him because he was very stern.
I liked it.
But he was.
You got what you saw with
Of course you
Teddy
did. But what? You could always tell if the teacher liked you, he'd send you on errands out of school.
Yeah, that's what I would
You know what I mean? Yeah. Where's Winder? I mean, he'd come throughout the school to my
I did
class.
it for John Malone. You won't remember Mr. Malone. I don't think he was that.
Last
I
night.
don't think. Yeah, I don't think he came. He was. Do you remember John Cooper Clarke from school?
No.
He was like the punk
Yeah.
poet. He's
He was a
famous.
poet, yeah.
Do you remember Giant Haystacks from St Thomas's?
Yeah. He
He
had a
just
shop on
Mountain
Sussex
Rowan.
Street. Yeah, he lived
Yeah.
on Low Broughton.
What was his shop? What did he have as a shop?
It was a corner shop.
Didn't he live on Wheater's Crescent?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was from that area, yeah.
That's where
I
he
used to
lived on
see him
Wheater's
And
loads,
his brother Mike's as
loads
big as
of
him
times,
nearly.
Yeah. But he was nothing like they portrayed, you know what I mean? I mean, like with the wrestling. Do you remember this wrestler? Right, going back.
Billy Two Rivers.
You've got it.
Of course I do. He went out with
He-
Chef Walker's man.
He used to come to all the shows.
Yeah.
Billy Two Rivers.
With his tomahawk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was he from? Broughton. Jersey.
Fallowfield.
There's a lad who's got a
The comment
pub
there.
and a restaurant in Cheshire, and he used to be a wrestler from Salford. He's got Alzheimer's now. And I'm trying to think of the restaurant.
You've got it as well.
Yeah, I've got it as well.
And you're only 52.
What was it say, Carl? Comment.
Comment.
What was it say? Sorry.
Jim Collins.
Shouldn't you be what?
El Rafiq on Broad Street. Can't remember that.
Just El Rafiq. Broad
Hey, Terry Burnett has said, bloody hell, Fred, you've got competition. He can go on a bit that pizza.
I was thinking that before.
You're
you put it
joking,
together.
honestly.
No, not in the negative way, in a lovely way. But it's
David, where was it?
On Broad Street. 'Cause I'm the
I
son of
love
that.
hearing all stories. There's
Oh,
not enough of it.
Tony Eason. Who remembers Mick McManus?
Oh.
I remember. Yeah, Jackie Pallow.
Stick to Salford.
Yeah.
Stick to Salford.
Yeah, Dave Nicholson, hi David. He said, shouldn't you be drinking real beer, like bitter or mild? None of that tarts drink lager. Come on, lads. I agree with you, actually. But the Winders brought this because they're a pair of tarts. But, David, I'll drink anything.
If you own a brewery, David, or you know someone who's got access to large amounts of beer,
Yeah.
like Seven Brothers or Marble Arch Brewery,
We'll be doing a film,
Manchester Union
a
Brewery.
film festival at the Moss.
Oh,
At the Moss Fisheries
Moss Fisheries
microbrewery
Brewery.
when they go into production. Tell us about that.
We got planning for it, and we've got all the stuff. We bought it all, and I'm just being a bit lazy. It's when I want to put it together.
Well, put it together.
We've been really, really busy.
Do you really want to be a drunkard's pal?
No, I just want to give a few more local jobs to people.
Oh, that's very
That's all we're
good.
doing it for. And if somebody wants to speak to me about running it themselves, they can.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you got the hops?
We've,
Is it proper beer
No,
you're brewing?
frame sat.
there's everything. Everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know how to brew beer?
No. I've told you about 100 times I'm illiterate.
I know, but
I just
I've got
like
a
to point.
pal.
No, I do. I'm good at pointing.
Get me the phone. Give me a Arthur Guinness. Tell him it's shred on the.
So you've got enough space, Alan. You've got you've got the facilities.
We've
you've
got the
space.
building. We've got the building.
Why have you got that gable end done up with the George Stephenson rocket you're going to have painted?
Because the lady, we're putting the
Rachel,
George Stevenson's rocket.
Rachel.
We're putting the George Stevenson's rocket on the building because of the history with Chat Moss,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which the rocket come through right
Yeah.
behind our place. So we've
Tell them
asked.
why.
We've asked.
Because all these high-class polluting engineers couldn't lay a railway track against the Moss, and this humble working-class man from Newcastle called George Stephenson came and floated it across on
Bales
balls
of
of
straw.
yeah. And it's
Brilliant.
right at the back of Alan's farm, Moss Lane Farm, and it's right at the back of his house. I love the gable end, and he wants to get it cement rendered. And this Rachel, I've got to be honest, she does a lovely job. She's done the station in Earlham, she's done the railway bridge, she's done the house with the dog with sausage in its mouth up near the tire works. She's done a belting job. And Rachel, come on, get on with it. Get on with it.
We've
And also she'll be in our next interview.
put the scaffolding up and we're just waiting for Rachel to come now and do it.
Is that Rachel, not Credit?
Rachel, but it
Yeah,
needs
the
rendering
centre.
first. Don't just put it on brickwork. Either put some.
I'm from Salford, Fred. I never finish anything.
You finish your breakfast. Put some boards up, some 8x4 boards scrimmed at wall. Molly will do it for you. Molly's good on the old hand drill. And Phil, get him on it. Do that, put the boards up and give us something flat. Give it a blank canvas to paint on.
Yeah.
Don't give her bricks with mortar joints. It'll look
I
terrible.
come here to get me shouting at us every day.
No, you don't, Alan. You're a pal. You're a good
Yeah.
lad. You're a poacher turned gapey. You're one of Salford's champions. You know that. You've been through it all. You've had a rotten life as a kid. I know all about your life as a kid. I know that you've been led
You sound like a
astray.
magistrate. Like
No,
you
no,
took me away. Before you sat me down, you used to tell me all that.
Like that, then, please. I'm going to make an example of you. Leslie Walsh.
I did get put away once off a judge, and he did bring me in this cell when I was a child. He did bring me some chippy,
Did I?
yeah, and I can't remember.
Did you get the scraps with it, or just the chips and
No, just 6
No,
months.
just a chipper,
just chippy in 6 months?
and then a 5-hour journey in a car.
To where?
I done a bit of a fire down Silk Street when I was a kid, and I got put away for it.
Alan, that wasn't a bit of a fire.
That wasn't a It's in history, that.
That's a fire engine attending that little explosion.
Black Street bills. Yeah.
I was a young child without a mum trying to keep warm. That's what I told the judge.
Blew all the windows out.
That's what I told the judge. Anyway, put me away. Put me away for 3 months. Only 3 months, and it was the best time of my life. 3 meals a day. First time ever. I loved it. I loved it. I genuinely did love it. It was the best thing. And then I met a gentleman of a teacher called Donald Campbell, and he took me to a special school called Encombe Place behind the old Salford Oil. Gentleman.
Yeah.
He punched me brains in if I needed me brains punching in.
Didn't you used
But
to
an
drive
absolute
Bluebird in?
No, he's a Scotsman and he's still alive up in Scotland where I just bought an holiday home.
This is
Gentlemen.
brilliant. I'll be watching this from California.
Amazing.
Alan, you've
Amazing.
gone global now.
But
California, and this is making me homesick, but it's also making me throw up. No, it's not. It's also putting a smile on my face.
Salford's
nice.
a special place.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can we
Cheers,
say Salford
cheers,
where
Al.
we are?
Of course.
They don't
yeah.
like it. They don't, no, they don't like it up here. But since
Oh no, they don't mind it up here. Get to Row Green and
Oh, you're
Wesley!
How about doing a Greasy Spoons cafe? Just John Murphy.
What's that?
In Greasy Spoons Cafe.
Oh, doing this in Greasy Spoons. We did have plans to do it in the Bengal Balti, Cromwell
Yeah.
Road, Monday night.
Hussein.
Outside. Yeah, Hussein.
Yeah.
Chicken on the bone for Fred.
I'm all for encouraging people up Earlham and that. How come you've never done
Hey,
that?
Hellfire, hold on here now, boys. Elaine Hansen from California has said this is brilliant. I'm watching this from California, and this is making me homesick. But it's also definitely putting a smile on my face. Well, listen, Elaine. First thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. Texas, California is the place you want to go. So the only little truck and the boots of Beverly Hills. Swimming pools, movie stars. The Beverly Hillbillies.
That soon went down, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's gone off now.
Elaine Hanson, come on home.
Oh,
We've been there long enough.
Oh, it's forgiven.
You know what, that sunshine and that have a nice day nonsense. Get back to here, Salford, grey skies and have a
Debbie
long
Jones
day.
from California.
Oh, Debbie, where is she? Is she on now?
No, it's a figment of your imagination.
No, she's not. She's real. She's real. She's
There's
real.
the Californian lady called Debbie Jones. Lovely Debbie.
Oh,
Delightful
yeah, I've
Debbie.
heard a name mentioned many
Fred is
times.
forever mithering me. Where's Debbie? She's coming over soon.
She's going to be a special guest on here.
She better be gorgeous when she comes
She
over.
is.
I've got these.
Blonde.
It's been a catfish, yeah.
Blonde.
What, her own hair or a wig?
I don't know.
You know-
Sun-kissed blonde.
I used to go out with this
I'm
girl.
on
once, I don't want to mention
commission
her name. Her name's Pauline, and she came.
You mention it. You mention it every week.
Oh, what's the
She-
second name?
No, she came back to me flat once, and it
Once.
frightened me to death because I went to bed with a beautiful woman, but I woke up with a right horror. There was this thing by his side at bed, and I thought it was a spider, and I got the heel of my shoe and banged it on.
It was
With
a
her eyelashes. She took her eyelashes off. Pauline, I still love you. I bet you. Look at Flynny here. He's dead. I said, have you ever been in bed with an ugly woman yesterday when we was in the aquarium? He said, I woke up with plenty. Flynny, he was a right scourge. There's not a woman in Eccles that I don't know that doesn't know him intimately. And one or two fellas in Worsley.
That's a doggy again.
You've been around though, Flynny, be honest. You've put it about a bit or something, haven't you?
No reply.
It's happened once before. I came through your door. No reply. Oh, that was the other one. You're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose that girl. You're gonna lose that girl. You can try
Is it
it.
making sense now while we don't have a script?
You
No,
can't
we
have
don't.
a script.
We'll write things
It
down.
was spoiled.
Right, we'll talk about this. We'll talk. No, forget that.
I only wish we'd have got it on camera. What happened?
Flowers.
That was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh,
With the flowers.
yeah.
Libel, slander.
Everything came out.
These lads come up
Plastic
today.
on plastic.
To where I live on Chatmoss, and my neighbour Alan Henry Whitehead sent him down. He's with us as well. He's my neighbour, and they come up and they brought this loads of Stella, if you like it. So I don't mind it. Anything that makes me fall over is good. But they brought all this up, and they brought some flowers for my missus, which I thought was a lovely creeping touch. And anyway, we brought the flowers. She arrives back from wherever she'd been. Tell her what happened, Pete. Tell us.
Well, I said, yeah, I don't. I said, I know you don't drink. But when I brought them in, they was nice and lively, lovely fresh flowers. And he said, I know, John, you don't drink. I said, but I hope you like these lovely flowers, they're fresh. And she went, they're shit. I said, these are not mine, these are plastic. And Fred Fiddler,
Yeah.
over there,
He's not outside, Charlie.
he's me, sorry.
Well,
He set me up.
Tony.
He set me up. So
Well, she got the proper flowers in
She's
the
got
end.
the proper
And she
flowers.
was very grateful. She loves you. You're very courteous of you, very chivalrous too.
So
But she's since got the bed in a hoof.
Gone off on the Buff Lane.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh, dear God.
Have we all enjoyed
We
ourselves?
certainly
boys?
have.
I have.
We certainly have.
Have you, Alan?
I feel highly honoured to come and meet these gentlemen.
Oh,
I genuinely do.
Sorry, us then. Me. That's me.
I think you've come up against it, Fred, today.
Yeah, but hey, a happy anniversary.
Yeah.
I love
Amazing.
a little bit of entertainment.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And he's tickled me. He told me things that I didn't know. I never knew that his brother was homosexual. Out of the closet with pigeons. What's all this about pigeons? Cool, what a scoop.
Pigeons, there's a lot of people in Salford with pigeons, isn't there?
Yeah.
A lot.
Well,
Les Green used to be a
up
lot
here.
of
Don't set him
that.
off now. Don't start him off on pigeons.
A lot of people.
Peter did it at his wedding.
When I lived in Salford, they kept a lot of people out of trouble.
What, pigeons?
Yeah, the pigeons kept a lot of people out of trouble.
Remember his kids,
Yeah, kept from out of trouble.
Didn't keep him out of trouble.
Did you ever get canker off a pigeon?
No, but a pigeon.
That's for kissing them, that. If you kiss them.
When we was kids, canker used to be
Football.
taboo, but now a pill down it, half a quarter of a flangel, which I think is for thrush, and
Thrush, no pigeon.
That's why they're not winning races.
now you know what I'm not talking about.
Pigeons get a thrush.
I meant the other type of thrush.
I don't know what the woman thinks.
It is, that's what it is for, and it cures canker.
And you better leave us some of them. My missus has been a bit funny.
Which one?
Well, all of them.
Oh dear.
Happy days. I regret nothing of my bringing up in Salford, do you?
No.
What about you, John?
No, I wouldn't change anything, even though I've had some bad times, as we all have.
Sure.
I would not change anything. I mean, never from leaving school. I never wanted to leave school. I must have been batting me, but...
Do you know, I have a theory about that? If they made the school leaving age up to 65, they wouldn't have any of this unemployment program, because you could go straight onto old age pensioning, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Somebody got
Listening to you there about school, I genuinely never liked going in, and still to this day, I cannot hold a pen. I won't hold a pen, I won't even look at my bills.
Right.
If I see a letter with my name on, I pass it to my wife. I don't even open it. I hate anything official.
She knows everything that's in your bank account.
No, honest to God. I can't swim, I own a fishery, I'm never interested in swimming, and I'm not ashamed of telling everybody that I'm illiterate. I love saying it to people because it knocks them back. But genuinely, under that, no, my kids are very, very clever. I've got a nickname for one, but I can't say it because I'll get chucked off the internet for so many months. But are very clever. One of them's training to be a lawyer now in Salford Uni. And from where I've come,
excellent.
With my place. But yeah, no, I've never been interested in any homework or any writing.
I'll teach you to swim.
No, my wife tried. My wife was a swimming teacher for the education.
Makes no difference. I'll teach you to swim. Come with me, I'll teach you to. I taught Johnny Weismiller out.
You'll end up walking home saying he was a nice lad, that Alan, wasn't he?
When you find him.
Never liked him.
They won't find him there.
No, we could teach you. Do you swim, Flynny?
Like a frog.
I swim pretty good. I'll teach you to swim, Alan. Seriously, if you want to go to the bath,
Do you know how I learned myself to swim? It's gospel true, this. Remember you used to get the free tickets for Pengy Baths?
I've still got my free pass for Pengy Baths.
I was in Hackney Park, school holidays. I used to go to Pengy Baths. I must have been bonkers, really. The high diver, it was only 6 foot, wasn't it? I used to go up on progressive steps, something like that, to the pyramid. And it's just, I just throw myself in. I had this thing of, if you drown, your fault, you'd have to get. But if you can swim, you'd be right. Paddle to the side, get up and like that, right, get on it. The next step, throw myself in like a lunatic, paddle. By the time I got to the top, I was dead. No, I was alright, I managed to do it. It was just, I'd throw myself a bit further out.
Only Flynn, an everyday story of country folk, mainly from Salford. The swimmer's technique, part 1.
How not to swim.
Our playground we used to be the cut. That was the Irwell.
Did you swim in the Irwell?
Certainly did. Swam in the Irwell, yeah.
Oh,
we used to be we fell in the Irwell. You had to swim to get out.
My father
and the dolly.
What?
You know where the dolly
The dolly?
was? The dolly. You know where Dolly was? Do you know where Dolly was, Fred?
Yeah.
Where?
Where he says it was.
Do you know Albert Lang?
Irwell Street.
I do.
Down Chapel Street, down there.
Behind the old dwellings.
My sister.
Is it?
Arthur Millwood Court behind
Angela?
Derby.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
Amanda.
Sorry, go.
we used to pinch
Amanda's my sister, and Albert's her father-in-law.
Yeah.
We used to take them on there. and
Can
boil
you
them
do
for an hour
Dirty
and
Old
take them
Town?
hanging.
Ah.
But it puts
It's
some
I met my girl. By the gas works wall. You're in the car,
LHD, yeah.
Amongst others.
I can't do it because they've pulled the gasometers down now. We can't do it anymore, can we? Let's have a look at Amanda Lang. My father-in-law was a pigeon flyer, Albert Langslow.
Know him very well.
Did you?
Went to live down Cornwall.
Yeah.
He's still there, Albert.
He is,
in
yeah.
Cornwall. Yeah.
Can you hear me, Albert?
No, it's Amanda's father-in-law, Albert
He used to meet up at
Langslow.
Blackpool for the pigeon shows. every January. That this was before COVID came in. Hopefully it'll be over and we'll see you up there this time and all.
Him and Carol are doing well.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Still healthy.
Pair of them used to work at Bellamy's, was it?
Yeah, yeah.
And Carol used to work with us
The
at Warren
Warren
Goldstones.
Goldstones.
She was a shop steward.
You may know my dad, Stanley Davison.
Stan.
Don't spit on the
Was
floor.
he in charge?
Don't spit on the floor.
Probably, I haven't got a clue what he did, I just know he works at Wards.
Yeah. I know a few.
We
Stans.
had a load of cable, I know that.
Bollocks. More sockets and copper cables
Bollocks.
off bits.
Yeah.
Son's a copper.
Right, I'm going to say now, we've got 10 minutes, Fred,
Yeah,
before we've got to get off on, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Alan's going to the, where's it going on? Tell us, so. Bits
I'm
and
going to this and that in Manchester.
this and that,
Near
highly.
Shrewdhill. Been going for 30 years, love it, absolutely beautiful.
I've never been there.
I think you should have a
Is
friend.
it Indian?
Yes.
Yeah, lovely place.
Yeah.
Whereabouts on Shrewdhill is it? Near the Swan with two
Swan-
necks,
Swan-
right? Whereabouts? The
Where
one where
the telly shop used to be on the corner.
Yeah.
No, I remember Withy Grove
It's where the
safes.
tattoo
Yeah.
places.
Go past the safes,
On
keep
the
on
other
going
side.
up.
On the other side.
You go past the Arndale car park, that spin
Yeah,
back
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Just go past it across the road and it's hidden behind, it's in an entry.
On the left.
If you,
Is it
on the
near the
right,
Turk's Head?
you're not allowed to say that.
Oh,
Yeah. On the right is Thomas Street.
Well, it's hidden at the back of it,
Yeah.
but it's love it.
Where the old
I
Empire
could
was,
walk
it
you
used to
there.
be.
I could
Yeah.
take you there now.
All
Walk
the
there.
BBC staff, everyone used to be in there all the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely.
I'm going then. I'm going tonight.
I'll be there.
I'm going to take her with me. I'll take you with me as well.
My thought, what's that say there? Fred Greenough, shut up rabbit in your cheek. Oh, sorry, I took that out. Good day, Fred and friends. Watching from where?
Oh,
Australia!
Australia.
Hey, this is Freddie Greenhouse. Fred, you remember Freddie at school? Freddie!
No, Sally.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, well, that's right.
Sorry, Fred. How are you, mate? Good to see. He's been down here and chatting with me and all that. Like a good old kid from St Thomas de
Peter went
Canterbury.
people from Australia.
I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Bonkers,
I think with your kid, I think he's more of a memory man for names rather than faces, or the other way around. You'd probably see him if you saw him, you'd know him straight
Yeah,
away.
most probably I would.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
It's like
But
that.
like I say, if it was St Thomas's that they come from and things like that, it was the St Peter's lot who we used to mix
Sure.
with, you know, because we all lived at the same area, Greengate, Blackfriars Road. But, you know, there's all miserable some souls from St Thomas's.
John,
Where's that great cheating street?
Great cheating
What-
street.
John,
Bass Penn used to live up there.
what was the
You know
happiest
it's
day of your life?
Oh, when I got married.
Was it
Oh,
really?
is
That's
it?
nice.
Nice, isn't it?
What's the name?
Haley.
Haley, I hope you're getting all this down, love. This is the love of a man who says that his happiest day of his life was when he met you. The saddest day of my life was he met you before I did.
That's the word.
Is she alright?
She is, she's very sporty. She's
Sporty! Oh, bring the boys round there, you know what I mean? Nudge, nudge.
she's done a lot of running. She's run.
Oh, don't worry, we're not catching
run
it.
the,
We can't be catching. We're not chasing no women.
She's done the Ironman.
The Iron Man?
I
Yeah.
know him.
New York Marathon. We nearly got blew up for the Boston Marathon. I was stood right next.
Oh,
to
I
her.
remember that. Yeah,
When the
yeah,
second
yeah, the
bomb went
terrorist.
off, she passed the line and we just walked away. You know, it was jinx going there because the first night there we went out for a meal, went in a nice posh hotel, and we woke up during the night, the bleeding hotel sat on fire. So that didn't start it off well. And I was telling all these people what happened at the airport when
This
we
was a
coming
good
out.
holiday.
The-
The hotel sets on behind you, get bombed.
if you,
How did that?
I was telling these people,
Don't bring it again.
well, this was it. When we was in the airport coming out, I was telling these people all these things that had happened and that.
Oh,
When we got on the plane, it was only us on it when we got on the plane.
Ask Pete the same question.
Tell that camera.
Yeah, let's put a bit of a different foot on this. What's been the most memorable day of your life?
Memorable day. I mean.
Oh, you forgot it.
Not telling, in a sense.
I must have had one.
It's got to
Been
come.
married 3 times.
It's got to come. It's got to come
How happy
out.
he does. Yeah, the thing is, you're talking about having bad luck. He was my best man each time.
Yeah.
Do you know when people ask me what's the happiest day of your life, I never say the birth of my child or anything
Oh,
like that.
right.
Do you know what it was for me? Getting hold of my number plates off my car and giving them to the driving instructor, magnetic, as I'd give these to somebody that can benefit by them. And I'd pass my test. I
On
was
Great
17.
Juicy Street.
No, I did on my scooter at Great Juicy Street, but I passed my test in Withington near the White Lion. Both
Right,
times.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, past the
you
first
either
time.
did it at Great Juicy Street or
Yeah.
you'd go over to Withington. Yeah.
That's where
Was
I
that
went.
behind?
Strange opposite
Waterloo
Sainsbury's.
pub?
Sainsbury's.
Behind the Waterloo
No,
pub?
that's the
No,
new
no,
one.
that was
The
the
old
one.
one was on Great Juicy Street. Right opposite.
Near the Kismet, just past down from the Kismet.
Yeah.
Just down from the...
Oh, he remembers it now.
And the Kismet was where all the Asian guys used to... They had a card school there upstairs. They all used to go playing poker.
Yeah.
Up from all the
Gamblers,
restaurants.
He
Yeah.
used to play on a roll of lino, didn't he?
Yeah.
It went from Tenerife Street to the Kismet.
Did you get paid for that job, by the way?
No, they did a run-off.
Well, I didn't get paid for
They did
fitting
a run-off.
A
it.
carpet runner.
Right, boys. Well,
That was-
we've got 3 minutes.
Very
We've got to
quickly,
get out.
so you've just
Second.
struck a memory. Carpet runner.
Yeah.
When you was at home back in Salford in the
Yeah.
old street,
Up the lobby.
right? Did you have surrounds and a carpet square?
That's right.
And why? What was the advantage?
You didn't have to put the lino underneath the big square.
Right.
Yeah, and there was another advantage.
Well, go on.
Well, if it always worn out near the door, didn't they?
Yeah.
So you could turn it round.
I'll
couldn't
spin
you?
it over, right?
By God, you
We-
winders are devilish cunning
Oh,
people.
I tell you.
You know all the tricks.
The
of
millionaire
trade.
family winders.
And you're still laying them now. You've packed
No,
in,
I've
but you're
finished
still
now.
laying them.
I do have fitters, but I don't lay myself. I'm
Yeah,
ready
still
for,
has to shop.
ready for coming up for retirement now.
Jack Winders.
What are you gonna do
and
when you
Salford
retire?
Precinct.
I don't.
Where is it, Peter? Oh,
Salford Precinct.
Salford Precinct?
Yeah.
I think I must have passed that. Is it not a shop in Warden?
It's facing.
Yeah, that's Eddie. That's
It's facing the
That's-
market hall.
Oh,
same
well,
thing.
we'll- we'll-
No, the King. The
Don't
Chipper.
mention our Edward in what they
In
call
decent
it.
conversation.
You
Just
know,
a Salford
somebody joking.
Precinct shop if you want quality,
Well,
affordable.
The thing is, the business, as I say, was Jack Winder and
Yeah.
Sons, right? From the word go. But they have never moved out of the old city of Salford.
Salford.
Good, admirable,
Right.
admirable.
Yeah.
The old city. I mean, I'm not being awful, but Wogden. Wogden wasn't the old city of Salford.
No.
It's now the metropolitan city.
Since 1974, yeah.
70, April the 1st, 74. But
Where is Salford City Centre? No help from the audience.
Deborah Roberts says, do you do tick?
Salford city centre. Well, the oldest part of Salford was Greengate.
Right, so where was
Salford
the city
Cross.
centre?
The city
Near
centre.
Mother's Pride.
Salford Cross, you
Near
just
Mother's
mentioned.
Pride Bakery.
Where was it?
It was
Moses.
in Greengate.
No.
It was in Greengate.
Well,
Yeah, correct. Where?
It was near Garden Lane somewhere.
Flynny.
No, you're both wrong.
I've not
It
said
was
that.
on Fitzwarren Street.
Yeah, near
It was on
Moses. So that
Fitzwarren.
was next to the roundabout.
So if you look at Salford geographically,
Little cottage road street, still there now.
yeah, where the chip shop is.
I
Yeah.
thought it was
I think it might
Greengate.
be an English chip shop, I don't know. I'm not going down that.
Well,
I'm not going down that minefield of chip shops, Fred.
well, you told me.
I've had some good
That's a
times
Moses
at the
Bakery.
Flying Horse
That's a
on Greengate.
geographical.
All right.
You
Flying
Mafia
Knacker
Joe.
used to call it.
Yeah, the knacker. Mafia Joe.
Yeah.
And Joseph Di Felice.
Flying Knacker.
Had some great times in
And you
there.
don't drink, Alan, no?
We used to go in the back doors of Mother's Pride.
Yeah.
And
Nick
grab
the
the
best.
loaves when they come out of the
Moses.
oven. And put our hands in them. Get all the dough out as quick as we can so the crust cooled down. Me and Colin. And then eat it all day.
Did you get indigestion with it being hot bread?
Oh, yeah.
We did, but we was full up. And then we'd pinch a couple of apples or pears off the trees.
Do you know this is
Self-sufficient.
reminiscent? I interviewed Norman Wisdom on the programme once, and he had a very tough upbringing. His dad used to pick him up and throw him against the wall. Seriously, it was heartrending to hear his story. And he said me and my brother used to have to nick things off stalls to eat. We were hungry.
Let me tell you what we used to do very quickly on a weekend. Over Mark Addy's Bridge, when we lived on Regent Flats, me and
Yeah.
our kids used to go over. There used to be a pie place where Gresty's car breakers used to be. Pork pies, sausage rolls and that. And we used to go in the bin, have a look for any pies that were still okay, but they wouldn't have lasted till Monday. Get them. Canada Dry for a few bottles of ginger ale. And then we used to go to Cadbury's over Trafford Bridge and get our dessert chocolate.
Self-sufficient, yeah.
That was our weekend.
Bit of a connoisseur, you
Oh,
really.
yeah, we had to finish with our dessert from Cadbury's.
Yeah, Whitehead the Gourmet.
That's what we used to do. We used to go home with chocolate all around our face.
Yeah, it's like kids that pick strawberries in the field and they come to pay for them. They've got red all right. And the farmer says,
I'm
"You're
not
not
having
here."
it.
No.
No, I've only had one.
Big red boat race like Charlie.
Carriola.
Yeah, Hello, gentlemen! Charlie Carrioli,
Do
well
you know-
done. I nearly said Camilleri then, but he was
You know, Tony, we never mentioned the likes of Lichetti's, did we? And Albert Lichetti with the Tatum.
One for you. Schiavo family. Remember the Schiavo? Schiavo.
Scarvo.
Peter
Yeah.
Schiavo, Vinny Schiavo,
Vinny's.
Lou
Lou.
Schiavo.
Ice cream family.
Ice cream.
Family. We're seeing them shortly, aren't we, Carl?
Yep.
The
one-
messes, yeah.
And I've had
The
one of
Ketties
the,
outside. Winter, hot potatoes.
Correct.
Summer, ice cream.
under the clock.
Yeah.
Albert, that was Albert.
And what did he sell in the winter? What did he sell in the
Chestnuts,
winter?
Black
Spuds.
peas,
And
Chestnuts.
black puddings.
little potatoes as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, that's what
yeah.
that was
And silver
Albert.
paper.
Yeah, with Licchetti, when he was doing his ice cream in the summer, he always had a bad sinus problem and he used to get a little bubble here on his nose. And he'd say to you, it's true this, do you want raspberry vinegar on it, son? Yes, please, Mr. Licchetti. And it was a race before you got raspberry vinegar or a load of snot.
I thought my nose was bleeding, but it's not.
Yeah. But
Oh!
yeah, because I think their dairy was in Park Place, wasn't it?
It was.
It was in Park Place.
I'm glad you remember Park Place. 'Cause
Yeah, Park Place.
I mentioned it to a lot of people.
Where was Park Place?
Cross Lane.
Cross Lane. It was the doss houses, wasn't
It
it? For want
was.
of a better word.
Yeah,
You used to have the
it
rope there, didn't they? Where you used to
Threaten
sleep
your
on the
lean.
rope.
Yeah, Park Place.
Could you sleep on a rope leaning forward like how? Oh, I'd rather go and lie down by the Irwell and have a kip.
Mm.
You couldn't sleep like that with a rope under your arms, could you?
Did anybody go down Flack Street, Silk Street, when there was
You
What
set
we-
fire to it.
Yeah.
No, we were going to do one time, but there was a big fire raging.
where the big mill was? And
Yeah.
Flax Mills, yeah.
The old mill.
where the planes used to be from the war. There used to be the cockpits off the planes,
Yeah.
and there used to be tanks in there. And we, throughout the summer, we put an hole in the wall, and we used to play in the fingers, and all the dried blood was still on the leather seats from the
Bloody
wall,
hell.
where the bullet holes had gone through 'em.
Well,
Jesus.
Amazing.
we
We thought it was full of gunpowder in the roof, and we used to make lines
Okay.
from the top of the mill all the way down and be there for days trying to light it.
Oh, they used
when
to
we
do.
was kids, before the flats was built,
Yeah.
all the old houses was up. Where Flax Street is, Broughton Copper Works, was on the front of Great Clues.
Yeah, and they all went in the Irwell salvaging it, didn't
That's
they?
right.
Lad drowned though,
The
didn't
Druids,
Still
the
have.
Druids.
Yeah, he lived in Sussex.
And what was the
Yeah,
other one?
Edward Street,
The
Palmerston.
Lima.
Young lad it was,
Druids
wasn't
of Lima.
What did-
The
what
Hyde
I-
Park corner.
Yeah, I knew it.
Tetley's house.
it? Remember that now.
Sadly, he went in there, and but it is sad really, and I actually seen where they pulled him out,
Yeah.
and they pulled him out, you know, opposite Manchester Cathedral,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Salford Bridge, it's called,
Yeah.
and that's where the night we was coming home, and what's all this going on, all fire service and everything, all the crowds was down, and that's where he came up.
It's a shame Mark Addy wasn't alive because he'd have saved him. He saved
Oh.
everybody else in
Yeah,
Salford.
I
Yeah.
like it. Fibber.
He
Yeah,
was-
fibber.
Yeah.
There was that much rubbish in there. They
I'll just
got it
finish
back
this
now.
off by
Yeah,
saying-
certainly.
Many years ago, about the 70s, 76, 7, I was with Neil Richardson and we were doing the research for the Salford pub book.
Oh, the books, yeah.
Really,
Remember Neil?
They were
Good
quite
chap.
naive and rough in them days, but we did our best. And we interviewed this old chap who lived behind Weeks Bus Depot, and we was talking about pubs of Salford, was trying to document it, which we did, and photographed it. And I said, we mentioned the Boathouse pub, Everard Street. I said, Mark, how do you
Everard Street.
Yeah.
Sure, not so. You always get one. And I said, well, I can't do this often here. No, he went, oh, no. He said, when we were kids, we used to play down that canal here, well, jump in. He said, he'd chuck ballers out, chalk it up, Bert. Another one saying,
Yeah.
a load of rubbish.
Oh,
He-
madam.
I can't call the man too, but he obviously did save a considerable number of people. But
Don't
no,
you go round there because you can't swim.
As a child, I used to
Not
see
that
many
bad,
of kids floating there dead.
Really?
Yeah, off Regent Flats. I seen two.
A lot of it was pollution and all though. You got a
No.
mouthful of that stuff.
Yeah, it was horrendous of water, wasn't it? We
Well,
used to,
well, the
we used to,
sewers
pinch,
used to
we used
run
to pinch
into
eggs from Manchester and boil them in that water.
Did you never go down the ladder, you guys?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my initials is on many.
If you could climb round Red Rock, you were Salford's #1 hero.
Like
You used to go
everyone
and get
back then.
conkers off the trees in September, and comes the back end of September, you'd go blackberry picking, and Giant Haystack stole my jar of black. I never forgive him for that. He stole my full jar of blackberries, and
Should give him a dick.
No, he put them all down his neck in one hit and just swallowed it. I don't think he even chewed them.
No, I wouldn't have-
And then
I wouldn't have had that.
we used to go after the girls from Broughton Modern School.
Always go back to this, doesn't it? Always good.
You should have been locked up as a child.
You should.
I was locked up as a child. But I used to go down there for the girls from Broughton Modern and the girls from
Tell us a few
Leicester
of the
Road.
names before we wrap it up.
Yes, Jacqueline Clampett. That's daft, isn't it? That's her name. Lynn James. Lynn was a good friend. Who else did I know? I knew loads of them. But if they weren't from Broughton Modern, Linda Spirits and Barbara Vickers. They're another two girls that I used to like. And if they weren't from Broughton Modern, they were from Leicester Road Girls' School, commonly known as North Salford Girls'
Salford.
School. And it was catch a girl, kiss a girl. But every one of those girls from Leicester Road couldn't run.
They did.
They had some
You always caught
Oh.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, you always caught
I
him.
had some fun.
Right, boys, it's nearly, well, it's well over our time. We only used an hour.
Yeah,
We've
sorry
done
about
90
that.
odd minutes, I think we've done.
It's been
Yeah.
brilliant.
2 hours.
Have you enjoyed it, boys? Alan,
Very much
thanks
so.
for pulling Alan.
No, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John,
Brilliant.
Peter,
Thank you.
Fred,
Yeah,
is it
It's been a
Fred?
pleasure.
Fred, yeah.
And Carl behind the...
Before we go quickly, because I've already done the graphic, and
Yeah.
can we just mention Alan's
Look at this, Alan.
cleaning up on the moss
Yeah,
levels
that
and
is
all that
horrible,
that he
yeah.
did.
My hero, Alan Whitehead, the champion.
This is very passionate to me. It's been Chat Moss since we've lived there has been really, really good for me and my family. The least I can do is keep the place clean, so we keep it as clean as possible. There's a flight tip officer, Simon Gegger, who we work with very closely.
Nice fella.
Now, where I've come from, a lot of people might be watching this later on tonight and going, he's a grassing such a thing. It's not. It's being passionate and proud of your community. Let's all keep Salford clean. If somebody wants to come fly tipping near my house, I will stand up all day long and grass them up. And that's the old terms from chucking someone in. They're doing something what I disagree with, so
I agree.
I find great pleasure in it, in flinging them in.
Yeah.
I want to keep the moss clean where my kids are brought up. That's what it's about, keeping Chat Moss clean for the next generation to enjoy.
Yeah.
Wrong with that?
Well said.
Nothing
Alan.
wrong
Well
at
said,
all,
well said.
Oh,
Well said, that
I
man.
agree 100%.
Not even that man. That
Yeah.
man.
And when I get fed up of sexual intercourse, I'm going to go slightly.
Carl, roll the credits.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys.
See you, everyone.
Thank you very
much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye. That was